which of the contenders deserves the crown? The 6-week 10-state slugfest kicks off tonight at I-80 Speedway with the Outlaws on TNN Motor Madness. All the way to Nebraska for what else? Some corn, some beef, and some great Pennzoil World of Outlaw sprint car racing. We've come all the way to I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska for the first ever live coverage of the Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown. Hi, everybody. I'm Ralph Shaheen, strapped in alongside my co-driving partner, Brad Doty, for our Pennzoil World of Outlaw coverage here in the great state of Nebraska. Welcome. We hope you enjoy the show. We showed you that there is 4 great drivers set to battle out for this championship, Brad. It's going to be a real slugfest. Let's show you how they stand in the point standings coming into tonight's action here in Greenwood. Steve Kinser leads it. Sammy, Stevie, and Mark right behind him. Danny Lisowski in 5th. Might have to stay right there, Brad, unless something happens in front of him.
Well, the important thing is these guys do not want to fall out of any races at this point. They never want to anyway, but Stevie Smith fell out of 4 out of 10 in his home state of Pennsylvania. He's less than 100 behind, back and forth.
Yeah, you can't afford to miss a point. Now, tonight is what is called a preliminary night. There's one more night of racing here in Greenwood tomorrow night. Let's show you how you score points over the 2 nights. Friday night, just as important as Saturday.
It is. It's half points. They earn a lot more points for the final night. And the reason they do that, multi-day shows, they split the field up. That's why for the half points on this preliminary.
And you just cannot afford to miss any points from now till the end of the year if you want to take home that championship from Las Vegas. You know, everybody has been saying that this 4-driver battle for the championship is really going to be historical and one to remember. And when it comes to the history of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, well, there isn't anybody who knows any more than our buddy Steve Evans.
Well, thank you, Ralph. You know, Stevie and Mark Kinser are both very young race car drivers, brilliant but young, and neither have ever been involved in one of these gut-check late-season fistfights for the Outlaw title. Sure, Mark won it back in 1996, but he had pretty much the dominant car. Stevie was number 2 in 1992, but kind of a distant second. Not the kind of pressure the 2 old warhorses are feeling at the top of the list, and that, of course, is Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell. But their rivalry goes back to 1979 when they did exactly the same thing, and they've done it 5 times since. And their strategy is exactly the same. Consistent finishes and no DNFs. In fact, Steve told me earlier he wishes 2 weeks ago in Santa Maria he had got on the brakes and just let Lisowski have that win. He DNF'd his own fault, and it cost him 17 points. And whenever there's a red in a feature this time of the season, each of these drivers checks as to where the other is on the track. Beat that other guy. Now, that's real good strategy in case the youngsters get a hot hand, and they are the 2 hottest drivers here at this very racetrack the past couple of years. Ralph?
They sure have been, Steve, and that is all a part of what should make this an incredibly first ever live broadcast from I-80 Speedway. Hey, we're coming right back to the great state of Nebraska. We'll talk to those top 4 points guys right after this.
You're watching TNN Salute to All-Stars Week.
Green flag. They're basically 2x2, but...
On October 17th, Daytona will never be the same.
Remember those great cowboy songs.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, keep rolling, rolling, rolling.
Presenting the Treasury of the West.
Keep them doggies rolling, right. Johnny Yuma was a rebel. Do not forsake me, oh my darling.
Get the Treasury of the West on 2 CDs or 2 cassettes.
I'm back in the saddle again.
So call now to get the Treasury of the West.
Happy trails to you.
To order Go to Treasury of the West. Call 1-800-946-7373 or send $19.99 for 2 cassettes or $24.99 for 2 CDs plus $4.50 shipping to the address on your screen.
Welcome back to I-80 Speedway. We're just between the cities of Omaha and Lincoln here in Nebraska as we get set for some live Pennzoil World of Outlaw racing. We talked about the 4 guys that are battling it out for the championship this year, and let's introduce you to them, starting off with Bobby Gerald.
Well, Ralph, Steve Kinser has won the World of Outlaws Championship 14 times. So many times that somewhere around the end of the 80s, it was kind of like, ho-hum, Steve wins another one. But not this year. It's a great battle between Steve and Sammy Swindell. And, Steve, I think this year it'd probably be a little bit more gratifying for you because not only are you the driver of this car, but you're the owner of this race team. Would it be?
Oh, yeah. I haven't won one as an owner yet, and we're on our 3rd shot here. And well, you know, we'd like to win it not only for us but for Quaker State and everybody on the race team. Everybody's worked hard, and we'd like to be able to pull it off for them.
You're 48 points up on Sammy Swindell right now. How much do you pay attention to the #1 car and what he's doing?
Well, you got to pay attention a little bit. You know, we made some mistakes. Had a white race one and gave it away and ended up 14th out in California. But everybody can say they've had mistakes in the last month or so. So you just got to put that stuff behind you and go out there and try to get top 3 finishes.
Does it bring back some old memories, Sammy and Steve?
Well, we've been at it for a lot of years, that's for sure. He's a hard competitor, and he won't quit until the last race.
We'll see what Sammy has to say. Here's Dave Reef.
Well, Bobby Gerald, Sammy Swindell is a 3-time World of Outlaw champion, including the defending champion, who boldly predicted at the beginning of this season that he would defend that 1997 championship. 47 points out. Are you in the position you need to be, you think?
Well, you know, I'd rather be 200 or 300 points ahead, but we still got time. The channel lock car has been working great. Last couple of weeks we had some problems and didn't get in the right position, you know, and a lot of times when it gets to the main event, the track position means a lot, and we haven't been able to make the good starts that we need to make.
A year ago in California, you pulled off 7 in a row. That's kind of what helped clinch the deal for you last year. Is there enough time this year?
Well, we were right there most of the races when we were out there. Like I said, the channel lock car was working great, and there was a lot of times when we were right there, you know, the top 3 or whatever. So, you know, I think we've got a good chance. We've got plenty of races left.
He's off to a good start tonight, too, Bobby Joe. Quick time at 15.129.
Yes, he is. And now another guy that still figures in this points chase is Stevie Smith from New Oxford, Pennsylvania. Right now, 3rd, 105 points behind Steve Kinser, but maybe more importantly, 5 ahead of Mark Kinser for 4th. Which battle are you concentrating on?
Well, we're just doing the best we can every night, Bobby. It's so hard at this time of the year when you're this close. The Ingersoll Rand car's been really fast for us. I hope we can keep it that way. It's been a good race car, and we're just taking one night at a time, trying to finish the race and do the best we can.
How'd you qualify?
3rd tonight.
You happy with that?
Oh, yeah, I'm real happy. We went out towards the end, so the track was getting a little slower, so I felt we had a good time trial.
Good luck to you tonight, Stevie.
All right, thanks.
And now Dave Reef has very quickly caught up with the 4th place man, Mark Kinser.
5 points behind Stevie Smith, as you said, quite a ways from the front. You're not quite out of this championship yet, but which race do you focus on, the battle for 3rd or the championship?
Well, actually, you know, you got to look to the main goal for #1. But like you said, we're about 100 points away from there, and each race it's getting closer to the end of the year. And Steve and Sammy, they're pretty consistent drivers, and Stevie's been running really good, and Daniel Osowski, boy, I tell you, night after night, he's been really strong. So actually, we're just going for race by race to win some races.
He's the 7th qualified car tonight, and Ralph and Brad, if he's going to get on that roll, it's going to have to come pretty quick.
Yeah, sure is, Dave. Thank you very much for that. You know, Brad, I think one of the things that's interesting here is that all the swings are done. No more swings through California or Pennsylvania. No, 5 or 6 nights in a row. That can either help you or hurt you as you go through the end of the season.
And no home track advantage, as we talked earlier.
They're all away games.
Yeah. But the thing about Steve Kinser not winning this championship, he's talking as a car owner. If he wins this thing, it'll be without Carl Kinser. And I know he really wants to win this thing badly to prove to himself and everybody else that he can win a championship without Carl Kinser.
Now let's show you how the top 5 drivers have been doing. First here in 1998, you can see feature wins, top 5 finishes, dash wins, and fast time wins across the board. Nobody has got more feature wins than Stevie Smith, but he's also fallen out of a lot of races, and that's what's hurt him.
Absolutely, that consistency we talked about. No, those 4 in Pennsylvania, I mean, he'd be probably out front of this thing leading it.
And, of course, the reason why Steve is leading intriguing is because he's got 37 top fives, a lot of points stacked up there. Now, how are these drivers doing in the last few races, you ask? Well, they just finished up the last swing of the season. That was through California at San Jose Speedway. The Harvest Classic was at the beautiful Calistoga Speedway, King Speedway, Santa Maria, and then the Gold Cup, of course, out in Chico. And you can see how everybody did all the way back to Jac Haudenschild. Some guys had good nights, some guys had bad nights. It all makes up a big difference as you work your way into this championship. Well, the crowd is settling in. We'll be back with more right after this.
Motor Madness, brought to you by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you to enjoy Miller Lite with friends. And by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them.
I'm a winner! I am the man! As if changing your oil isn't exciting enough, you can now win big in Pennzoil's Under the Cap sweepstakes. I'm a winner! I won! Playing is easy. I love you! Next time you change your oil, just check Under the Cap to see if you won the $250,000 home grand prize, or one of 10,000 VersaPack power tools, or a $10,000 home workshop. Stop. Go, Pennzoil.
I feel a presence. Harold, is that you?
Parts for sprint cars and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar. Team Mopar. Parts for NASCAR Super Truck and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar.
The summer. Live Maine lobster, specially priced at $14.99. A warm reminder that at Red Lobster, the season isn't over.
It might be a pretty flat state here in Nebraska, but I'll tell you what, they cut out a pretty good half-mile dirt track here at I-80 Speedway. First time we've ever come live with the TNN cameras in Nebraska. We're glad you're here with us. And we're glad that Bobby Gerald is with us, too. Bobby?
And I'm glad to be here, Ralph. And I am with the man who qualified 5th fastest tonight, and that is Tyler Walker. And what's old is new again with Team 35, and that is because Ricky Warner and a new guy, Barry Jackson, have come over now as your newest crew members. Tyler, Leonard McCarl has gone another direction. What was behind the move?
Well, I was started off the year with Ricky, and I've been with Ricky for about 2 years, and both of us have had pretty much all our success together, and I'm real happy to have him back. And Barry, I think he's going to be a real good essential to our team, and I'm real excited. You know, both of us, you know, me and Ricky, we're both real excited to be back, and I think we're going to be real fast, and we're going to get some wins, I think, here before the end of the year.
So far, so good. Tyler Walker, 5th fastest tonight, Dave Reed.
Dale Blaney will start outside the second row, which means he qualified 9th, and you're feeling pretty good about that.
Well, a little bit. If we can get through the heat race here and maybe have a couple of the fast guys miss it and get up in the dash and maybe gain a row in the dash, I feel pretty good. But we got to be feeling pretty good. I mean, Amico's behind us pretty good, and we just got to get a good effort here tonight and get a good starting spot tomorrow.
California was off. You're ready to get on a good one, though, aren't you?
Yeah, it wasn't very good for us, but we're back east here a little bit, and hopefully it'll be better.
What Dale Blaney is hoping is that they can get 3 cars to not qualify out of the top 9. That's where he qualified. If that does happen, it should put him on the front row of the dash tonight, and possibly his first career World of Outlaw win.
We'll be right back to Greenwood, Nebraska in a little bit as we get set for heat number 1. They're going to be pushing them off. But earlier today, we went around and asked some of the drivers, hey, when you're on the road, what do you do to entertain yourself before you got to go to the track? Sammy?
We've got a couple different things. We've got some motorcycles that we ride. Sometimes I get to play a little golf, and then other times we take my family with Amy and Kevin. We go out to like an amusement park or something.
How come you do me like you do? How come you do?
Even if you can't always treat your wood furniture with kid gloves, always treat it to Pledge. Because Pledge does what's right for your wood. Its conditioners care for and protect it far longer than dusting sprays. So treat your furniture like you do. And where life goes on, let Pledge go on. S.C. Johnson.
Like you do.
My cat is my life. Some people say it's because I'm middle-aged and single, but I say it's because my Mr. Boots is quite a decorator. Once, I saw one of his huge fur balls and thought, what a beautiful shade of beige. It'll look great on my deck. So I took it to True Value. Can you match this? Then she created a perfect match. There you go. Thank you. I let her keep the fur ball. We don't want to keep that color to ourselves.
Donald Keepley drove a truck. Then he hurt his back. It was the longest 2 years of his life. Do you know how hard it is to ask your in-laws for money? So he called the money store. We paid his first mortgage, his second mortgage, and gave him the money to pay back his in-laws. Today, he's back at work. He's getting his credit back on track. He's saving money every month. And his pride, that was the first thing he got back.
The Money Store. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
That's me, Bill. Here we are at the Super 8.
For reservations, call 1-800-800-8000.
What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
They'll fillet him.
Try Crab Delights tonight.
But I was King Crab.
Welcome back, everybody. TNN Motorsports is live at I-80 Speedway between Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm Steve Evans in this unusual grandstand that looks right straight up, the front straight. A lot of enthusiastic sprint car fans, TNN fans, a lot of fans for Cornhusker football tomorrow. Nebraska against Washington. Ooh. Let me tell you about this racetrack. I talked to a lot of the drivers. They said it's a twin almost to Las Vegas, where we will end our 1998 season. Same gear ratio, same stagger, same tire pressure, just about the same kind of a racetrack. But here you've got to run very high. It's a high groove until maybe later on in the night, maybe a little rubber gets laid down, and you can pass at least on the inside. Well, heat number 1 is out on the racetrack, and I know ready to call it is Ralph Cheyenne and Brad Doty. Yay!
Absolutely, Steve. We are set to go. Great to be back racing with the Outlaws. Here's a look at tonight's format. We'll have 4 heats, 8 laps each, and 5 drivers will transfer out of that to the A main. There will be an 8-car dash for 5 laps. There will be a C main. We'll take 2 out of that to the B, and then the B main will have 18 cars for 12 laps. 4 will transfer for them, and then, of course, a 24-car, 30-lap A main event here tonight on this preliminary night. And that is heat number 1 that is already pushed off. Here's the way they're going to line up. Travis Cram, Terry McCarl in row 1, Leonard Lee and Dale Blaney in row 2. Fast timer of the night, Sammy Swindell will line up alongside of Tyler Walker. His brother Jeff will be in row 4, and Darin Pittman alongside of him. Scott Young will be with Mitchell Moore, and Larry Pinnaker with Jason Wendt, and Butch Parr will round out row number 7.
Well, we should have a good race, Ralph. The racetrack is just slick enough. We should see some passing, but it's got a nice bottom groove and a nice cushion so far.
It's interesting. Steve said how this racetrack is going to be very much like Vegas is the way it's shaped. I talked to Guy Forbrook. He said, yep, it's shaped just like Vegas, but I'll run the exact same setup I ran at Fargo, which if you were watching our live telecast from Fargo, you know exactly what Steve did in Fargo.
And this carries a little more speed, Fargo, in here, Will, than Las Vegas.
That's a pretty ragged start, huh, Brad? Looked like Sammy was getting a pretty good jump there.
Yeah, but he was back in line when they actually threw the green, so let's see if they leave it go.
Well, he's way on the bottom, too. Look at that. Sammy right to the front. That's Terry McCarl on the white 24 on the bottom. Sliding up behind him. What a great jump for Sammy Swindell.
Man, he shot to the bottom into turn 1 and got that moisture and just drove by the whole field down in turn 1 and 2.
Dale Blaney in the Amoco car. Oh, third. There's contact. Jeff Swindell goes flipping big time down the back straightaway. Huge error for Jeff in the Octane 104 boost car.
Boy, for a minute, Ralph, I thought he was going to be okay. It looked like he was going to avoid it, and the car came back right into him.
Look at how he climbs right out of the car. He's okay. Frustrated, of course. The 104 Octane boost car flying high down the backstretch. Brad, you know, when you're flipping through the air, what's going through your mind? Because he had huge air going.
Well, it doesn't hurt till you hit something.
Yeah.
That really hurts.
Let's take a look at this again. 3 wide.
Okay, the 12 car on the outside gets right there. Jeff never made contact, but he does come down and touch the 16 and turns him around. It really wasn't the 12's fault.
That's Travis Cram in the 12 and Leonard Lee in the 16L.
Yeah, Lee didn't see Travis Cram.
Air right there.
Now that one right there, boom. That one's one that tightens your belts and
hurts the most.
Hurts the most. Yep. Here we're going to see it again. Now we're going to watch. There's Cram does a nice job keeping it out of the wall. You see a little bit of a cushion comes down. He's actually coming down as Leonard Lee is coming up. And right there, I thought Jeff might be okay. But see the left rear? You see that so often with the stagger. When the car turns to the left like that, with only 4 to 5 pounds in that left rear tire, it digs in. And there's what
look at how Jeff stays trying to hang on to the steering wheel, keep your arms from flying around.
Yep, you hang on, you tuck your head down. Sometimes they come out with a bent steering wheel because they're hanging on so tight.
Bent everything on that one. Bobby?
Well, Jeff Swindell's walking back over toward the ambulance now. And, Jeff, are you all right?
Yeah, just a little sore in the neck. Helmet grabbed me and hit pretty hard there a couple times. My bells rung a little bit, but, you know, I mean, he run down there and he put the slider on me and going to knock me in the wall, and I have to stop down there. So I went back underneath him here. I left him plenty of room around the top. I didn't pinch him in the wall. Then he gets up there and about spins out, and then whoever comes underneath him drills him. And then I'm stuck in the middle of the melee. I mean, it's our own daggum fault for getting in the back. I mean, we had a couple of problems there qualifying and screwed us up and put us in the back of this deal, and we should not have been there. We've been the top 6 every darn night for the last month and a half, and the 104 plus Octane Boost Ford should not have been there.
Jeff Swindell upset, but it looks like he's okay. He's going to walk over and have a word with the safety crew. We'll get a look at the 104 plus car, check out how bad the damage is, Ralph, and we'll get back to you guys and see if Jeff will be able to continue on tonight.
Well, it's tore up pretty good, Bob. Let's take one more look at it.
Okay, here's what Jeff was talking about. Well, right there, Travis Cram just gets loose, and Leonard Lee hits together, and
along to the right.
And that car's junk. We could see when they were hooking on the wrecker that the bottom frame rails are kinked and bent, and that car's definitely junk.
Jeff Swindell talked about the great run they had through California. Nebraska, a little bit harder. We'll be back.
One night of music, one great cause, and only one place you can see it. Farm Aid 98, exclusively on CMT. 8 great hours of live music, Saturday, October 3rd. Join America's music legends, along with an all-star lineup, as they make music history and help America's farmers. Farm Aid 98, Saturday, October 3rd, beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern, only on Genuine CMT.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Huh?
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Yeah, man. Chunky sirloin burger with loads of vegetables and lots of beefy sirloin burgers, grilled to perfection.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Why do you keep saying that? Mama.
Gotta make sure you eat good.
Campbell's Chunky Sirloin Burger. It's loaded with beef.
Welcome back to I-80 Speedway here in Greenwood, Nebraska, just between Omaha and Lincoln. Probably a little closer to Lincoln than we are to Omaha. You know, the rocket start at the beginning of this one was absolutely amazing. The man who did it, Sammy Swindell, standing by with Dave Reed.
Ralph, when I got down here, Sammy Swindell had a big smile on his face, and I'll bet it had everything to do with that tremendous move. Tell me about how you did that. That was absolutely amazing.
Well, you know, usually can get a pretty good start the first time. Sometimes those second time around, the guys know which way to go, but we just got a little bit of roll there up off the top and got a little momentum on the guys, and they kind of left the middle open. There was a lane to go right up the middle, and we got through a row. And when I got down here to 1, McCarl went in low, was sliding up, so I just stuck it right on the bottom, and the channel lock car was right there to respond. We came off way ahead.
Do you plan on these things, or is that just something that kind of opens up and you just got to take it when you got the opportunity?
Well, it was just something I was hoping was going to happen, and you know, if it did, it was going to leave the bottom lane really open, and if it didn't, we'd just go to the top and see what we could pull off. But you know, you just take what you can get, but sometimes you get a lot, sometimes you don't get any.
Channel lock car looks fast. This guy might be a player by the end of the night, guys.
Fred, Sammy talking about how he was kind of hoping it would open up. When you used to line up your car, did you look around and did you make mental notes about each of the drivers that were around you? How much mental information did you keep on each guy?
Not really, just like Sammy said. And it's funny because I had some people asked me just this week how the Outlaw guys seem to know where to go in lap traffic. Well, it's just experience. You point your car in there and you hope that things work out. And from your experience, it should tell you that, you know, it'll go your way. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Bobby Gerald?
Well, let's update you a little bit further on Jeff Swindell. The 104-plus car that was injured on the tow truck is going to be deposited right over here 2 trailers away. Now let's go inside Jeff Swindell's trailer, and we'll show you that Rob Hart, Rod Laraway, and the guys right now are pulling out the backup car. They have 2 complete cars sitting inside this trailer right now that they can pull out in an occasion such as this. So right now, Jeff gets the backup car out. He'll get his helmet. He'll get some tires on this thing, put the wings on. It's basically complete. Just needs some tires and wings, and he'll be ready to go in tonight's probably C or B main, guys.
Well, you know, Bobby said complete. There is still quite a bit of work to do, but being in the first heat is an advantage because now they've got the rest of the heat races to get this car ready.
Jeff Swindell has been, you can see how it's on the hook. They slide it out. This team has been very strong in recent weeks. Let's see if they can put it back together here tonight.
If these windows could talk, they wouldn't tell you how Fleetwood craftsmen build each home by hand, but about favorite family dinners. And they might not mention our solid steel frames, but they'd tell you about pillow fights and pajamas. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. Call 1-800-350-2300 for a Fleetwood Homes retailer near you.
Hey there, when you hear KFC, what pops into your mind? All right, best bucket of fried chicken in the world, but try again, KFC. I know you got bucket on the brain. Looky here. I also make something new called popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. It's mouth-popping good. Try it for $1.99. See, I make a whole lot more than fried chicken in a bucket, because I am a chicken genius. At KFC, we do chicken right, and not just in a bucket, neither.
It's the race you've waited for all season, and now it's on TNN. Don't miss racing history. Daytona goes under the lights in the Pepsi 400, October 17th at 8 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
I don't believe this.
Ma'am, what's your hurry? Tried to stop you a little ways back. I'm going to need your driver's license. Probably wondering why. Let me give you some reasons. About a busted taillight, about no safety belt. I've tried to stop you back there, but you flew right by.
With CMT, you hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see. It's your place to turn for world premiere videos of today's biggest stars. See the music you want to hear, only on genuine CMT.
Give it to me. No. Timmy, it's mine. No, it's not. Give it to me. It's mine. No, it's not. It's mine. No, it's not. She gave it to you and me.
Between you and me. With CMT's request line, you hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see. It's 2 hours of the week's most requested videos. See the music you want to hear on Request Line. Mondays at 7 Eastern, only on Genuine CMT.
Well, they've got it rolling again as we get set for the restart here. Let's head downstairs, Dave Reed.
Ralph, Terry McCarroll right now is in second. It'll be interesting to see if he can stay there. This is a guy that won 12 races out of 18 at the 3/8 mile Houston Raceway, but on half miles, they struggle. They've only got one motor, and right now, that motor is missing just a little bit.
Well, he is second, right behind Sammy Swindell. He started on the front row in the second position. Sammy with that rocket start. That's how he got out front.
Unfortunately for Sammy, they did get a lap in, and he didn't have to go back to 6th spot.
Tyler Walker on the bottom in the black 35.
That's the rookie battle right there, Ralph.
Racing with Dale Blaney. Sammy pulling away from McCarroll here in the rest of the field. Blaney runs third. Walker runs fourth. chasing Dale Blaney, the winner of the historical big one, and $100,000 earlier this year. But that is not a true outlaw race, so that's why Dave Reef earlier this year said that Dale's still looking for an outlaw victory.
Yeah, it wasn't World of Outlaw sanctioned. There, Tyler, running the top. Leonard Lee right behind him.
Of course, Dale Blaney fighting for the rookie championship here, but he's really no rookie. He's been the All-Stars champion, what, 3 times?
Yeah, 3 or 4, and actually 95 and 96. And what the year Dave was World Outlaw champion, he was the All-Star champion, so a good year for the Blaneys. As he did get by
yeah, he ran McCarl. He's up to second place. Sammy Swindell still leading this one. Now Tyler Walker that's by McCarl.
You heard Dave say McCarl's engine's missing. It's really starting to show up now. That miss might be getting worse.
There's the channel lock number 1 is Sammy Swindell way out front. Look at the gap back to second. That's a left car first that you see on the screen. And there's Dale Blaney running up high as the white comes out. A good straightaway difference between the two.
Yeah, at this point, Sammy's concentrating on what his race car he needs to do to that race car to even make it faster.
He's not really moving around the track much to check out different groups. He's pretty much hanging on the same line.
Yep, he must figure that that's where he wants to run or similar to that, and he's just up there staying out of trouble.
Easy victory for Sammy Swindell. Tyler Walker comes across the line. He finishes in 3rd. McCarl comes home in 4th, and Leonard Lee finishes in 5th. And Dale Blaney was 2nd. Those 5, along with Sammy Swindell, will go to the A main straight-on transfer to the top 5. Let's check in with Dave Reed.
Ralph, I'm down with the 1998 Amoco Knoxville Nationals champion, who's been on a pretty good roll. Second quick so far tonight. Things are looking real good for you guys.
Yeah, we had a pretty good lap, and we just hope we can carry on and do this thing in the A main and win this again on TV. I like that.
Tell me about this guy up here on your dash, Goldberg.
I tell you what, my daughter Hope's got me hooked on him Monday Night Nitro, and he's the man. He don't take any stuff from anybody. My guys want me to have the same attitude on the track.
For a little Friday night alcohol, maybe? You got the goods, you think?
We think we do.
Bobby Gerald?
Craig Delansky's going to be starting outside of the 2nd row, and this is a brand new race car here for Craig. It's his own team, and Craig, you got to be fired up about this opportunity to showcase your own racing team.
Yeah, we came out and qualified 10th tonight, so that was pretty decent, and I got a lot of good people involved with this, Midwest Underground, Polydome. I can't thank any of them enough. Hopefully we can get this thing up front tonight.
Craig Delansky giving him heck tonight behind the wheel of his own race car, Ralph.
That's one of those drivers who is very talented, runs strong everywhere he goes. He just needs some stability. Well, we told you earlier about how we went around and asked some of the drivers what they do on the road. Next up, Dale Blaney, and I bet you basketball has something to do with it.
Sometimes you got a lot of time, and sometimes you don't. It seems like this time of the year we got, a week between races, so it's either golf a little bit with your friends or we've been bowling a little bit lately. So my wife went home there a couple weeks ago, so I've been spending a lot of time with my friends, and found out who they are. So I guess basically those 2 things, and that's about it. Life in the motorhome.
Savor the summer. Live Maine lobster, specially priced at $14.99. A warm reminder that at Red Lobster, the season isn't over.
At Pep Boys, our ASE certified technicians will install Ray Vestas lifetime brakes for as low as $59.99 after rebate.
Pep Boys. Cars like us. People love us.
You know, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So when I noticed a few flakes, I went for Head & Shoulders. And I love the way that it leaves my hair. And the flakes, no problem.
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems
into beautiful hair.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
Do you have trouble driving in the rain? Is the glare unbearable at night? That's why STP created Vision Blade glass treatment. Vision Blade forms an invisible barrier that repels water and virtually eliminates glare. It applies in minutes, and it lasts for 6 months. This muddy water sticks to the glass on the untreated side. But with Vision Blade, the dirt and grime sheets away, and your view remains clear. And now Vision Blade is available in 2 sizes to meet all drivers' needs. See what you've been missing with Vision Blade.
You know, one of the greatest things about being a part of TNN Motorsports is getting to travel around the country and go to all these places you've never been to before. Tonight, the third of the 3 new racetracks we've going to this 1998 season with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, Fargo, Terre Haute, and now I-80 Speedway here in Greenwood, Nebraska. Dave?
And Ralph, we just saw an absolutely amazing heat race by Sammy Swindell. That bonsai move in the first lap enables you for 7 laps to just kind of check things out. Give us a preview of what you think the racetrack's going to do the rest of the night.
Well, it's still going to be a little faster probably around the top. It's just so dry out there, and the wind's really dried the straights up, and it's really tough getting off 2. Had to be real careful there, not getting the wall, and the only place it might pick up is coming off of 4 and maybe run the bottom at 1 and 2. You might be able to run down there some if the top really slows down, but we got a good run, got a good start, got the Channel Lock car another win. If we can win 2 more tonight, that'll be a perfect night.
So far in 1998, Bobby Gerald, nobody has swept the entire night of racing. That includes the dash and the A-main. Sammy Swindell's in line to do just that.
Maybe he will. Well, Sammy was worrying about his race, about the racetrack. Terry McCarl worried about his race car. What was going on there with your motor?
Well, we just got a little problem with the West motor tonight. They normally run real well, but it's got a little stumble to it, and we've been off on it on the big tracks all year long, been running real well on the short tracks, so it's just one of them things with the heads the way they are anymore. You got to be real precise on the fuel. It's getting to be a lot like drag racing, so we're just working on it. We'll get her dialed in, I think, before the night's over.
The good news there, Ralph, is that Terry McCarl is safely in tonight's A-main.
That makes a big difference, too, Brad, knowing that you are locked in.
Oh, absolutely. It gives them time to work on the engine and stuff. And like Terry said, the fuel mixture is so critical in these sprint cars. Used to be watch the temperature gauge and adjust your fuel to that. Now they use the computer and everything else. So very critical. And these engines will stumble, which just means, like when you get in the morning, you start your car, you take off real early, and you stomp the gas, it chokes and spits and sputters. That's what these things do.
Let's take a look at the grid now for heat number 2. 5 more of these drivers going on to the A-main. Joe Gaerte and Lance Blevins in row 1. Travis Whitney and Craig Delansky in his new race car in row number 2. Now, these 2 in row 3 have been battling each other out pretty good last few weeks. Steve Kinser, Daniel Lasowski have come together twice in recent weeks. Kerry Madsen and Andy Hillenberg out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Terry Riley, Matt Wasman in row 5. Dean Chad and Greg Bolt in row 6. John Lambers will round out the field. What do you think, Steve?
Well, it's interesting. The king of the Outlaws, Steve Kinser, the green number 11 car, qualified only 6th in time trials. I was in his pit when he rolled in, and he was almost embarrassed. He said, guys, I just about lost this thing in turn number 2. He said, this is a different racetrack than I anticipated. So they added a little more to that wicker bill. Brad Doty, you can explain what that is, but basically it's that rear lip on the back of the big wing.
Yeah, what that is, Steve, it's a lip on the back of the wing that helps transfer the weight to the car, to the rear tires, to give them some better bite coming off the corner as we go green.
Knoxville Nationals champion Daniel Lasowski carrying the onboard for us as we go green. Joe Gaerte jumping into the lead as they come off of turn 2 down the backstretch in the 8 car, and upstairs he goes. Lasowski trying to catch Kinser in the green car in front of him.
You know, we've talked about it before, Ralph. A lot of people for years thought green was bad luck, but I always figured you start with the green, you get the green at the beginning of the race. At the end of the night, if you win it, you get most of the green and go home. So
Travis Whitney on the bottom of Steve Kinser in the Amico 7S. Craig Delansky just in front of him. Steve Kinser's up to 4th.
Now you see Steve go to the bottom, trying to find that moisture down there.
Craig Delansky, that brand new number 7 up in front, rides in 3rd. Joe Gaerte leads this one. Lance Blevins in the up front number 21 runs in 2nd. Then Delansky and Kinser. And then Whitney and Lasowski. Lasowski 1 spot out of a transfer now. He's in 6th.
I tell you, Steve rolling around the bottom there, it takes so much patience as a driver. And
Eddie Yellow. Car lost a wheel on the front straightaway. Can't see the number from here, Brad. I think it might be John Lambert's 12L.
Yeah, Yeah, he lost the left rear and flipped in qualifying.
Yeah, that's who it is.
That's why the wing looks like that. He lost the lid. They've definitely got a problem with the left rear where you lose 2 in one night. I mean, that very seldom happens, and hard to tell why, but I would be getting on the crew to find out what that problem is.
There's John looking a little frustrated.
For people that don't know, there's the axle on the ground. One big nut just goes on there and holds the whole assembly on. And
yeah, it's not like you'd have 5 like on a Winston Cup car.
Right, you've seen on Winston Cup cars the 5 lug nuts with the air wrench. This just has one like an Indy car. Just goes on there with a tapered nut, and that's what holds the wheel. And boy, they shouldn't be losing this.
Now, in qualifying earlier on, he had the same problem. Watch this.
Now, right there, it's off. Turns him around. Now, if you're going to turn over, that's about as easy as you can turn over. That really didn't do much damage to the car, the wing, and. But
great job.
This is really strange. I've never seen a car lose 2 wheels. The left side's. The nut is designed to go on so as the car accelerates forward, it tries to tighten the nut. So there's left hand and right hand on these cars, you know, so it's not the same. And the crew guys sometimes get in a big hurry and they'll forget which side they're on and things like that and pull on the. Well, that's so they don't back off like this.
Great job by our crew down in the truck to find that replay.
Great job by this crew getting this car ready to go. That's the Nerf bar, as they call it. He's pounding on there.
Bobby Gerald.
Well, Ralph, they've already fired it up. Jeff Swindell just took a warm lap to get some heat in the engine. They have it fired up right now, and as you guys were talking about, just putting on the side Nerfs right now. So he's going to be ready to go, Steve Evans. That'll be great to see Jeff Swindell. We all know what he can do in those B mains.
Boy, don't we. The best out of the B main. I've always said that. Now, the fans in the stands are pretty comfortable because when they built this racetrack, they knew the wind always comes out of the west. But the wind is screaming diagonally across this racetrack from turn 1 to turn 3. It's got to be affecting these cars.
We're back to green, Steve. Joe Gaerte out front. Look at Steve Kinser on the bottom with Daniel Lasowski following him. Steve Kinser up to 3rd. That's the fight for 2nd as he goes inside the up front back 21 of Lance Blevins. Boy, that Quaker State car is coming like a rocket. Lasowski now. He's up to 4th. He picked up 2 spots. He's in a transfer spot now.
That's what you need is a restart. Steve, Joe Gaerte came off the bottom. Now Steve comes off the bottom as Sammy did in the first T race. Gets a great shot coming off the turn. Now that's on a restart though when it's the slowest part of the race, and he's able to get it done.
But you see what Lasowski did. He saw how the bottom was working for Steve Kinser. He dove right down there. He picked up the transfer spots he needed.
Steve Evans talking about the wind, and with the winged race car, you get a crosswind and it will upset the race car. I mean, it can sometimes about take the race car right out from under you.
Joe Gaerte, Lance Blevins, Steve Kinser, Danny Lasowski, Craig Delansky, your top 5. Travis Whitney, then Matson, Riley, Bolt, and Matt Morrow rounding out the top 10.
There's Lasowski. See if he can get a bite off the bottom. As he goes right there, goes by Delansky.
That's the onboard camera. Delansky is actually coming up from 4th, or making it from 5th to challenge Lasowski, who holds on to that 4th position.
Yeah, Delansky started 4th. He's just trying to hang on and transfer.
Blevins catching up to Joe Gaerte. That's the fight for the lead you're looking at right there. Blevins in the white machine.
Nice run for Lance. There's a checkered flag right there.
Checkered flag to Gaerte. Blevins holds on for 2nd. Delansky just nips Lasowski at the line for 4th, right behind Steve Kinser. Lasowski will take 5th in the final transfer to the A main. That's interesting because he was the number 2 qualifier earlier on tonight. Lasowski had a real fast race car in qualifying, struggles in the heat, but makes it to the A main.
Track has changed considerably, as you heard Steve Kinser say. It's surprising a lot of these guys.
Here's a look at the results as the crews go to work down on in the pit. Delansky in that new race car. Lasowski's in a brand new race car as well. The car that won the Knoxville Nationals also picked up the win in California at Santa Maria. In fact, that car only had 2 races on it where it didn't finish in the top 5. One in Oregon and one in California. Everything else was in the top 5s. Now they've retired that car. Dave Reed.
Ralph, there's about a dozen or so Knoxville track regulars here tonight, including Skip Jackson, the 2-time and defending champion
and you did it again this year. Hey, what a great deal this is, a chance for you guys to extend your racing season just a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great deal for everybody involved in the Jensen construction team. We'll just see how we go tonight. We'll keep an open mind and see what we come up with.
You're coming off a real hard crash in Knoxville just 1 week ago. How's the body and, more importantly, probably how's the car?
This JB car's hanging in there pretty good. It's the same one we used all year long, and we'll see how we go tonight.
It was the first time in about 2 years she's crashed a car at Knoxville, Bobby Joe.
Well, a guy who doesn't crash very often is Andy Hillenberg, the driver of the black number 2. Andy, if he makes the top 5 in this heat race, will qualify for his 450th straight A main. But Andy, how much is the wind going to play a factor now in these heat races for you? It's whipping around pretty good.
Well, what it's going to do whenever, if you watch the cars real close going into one, they're really going to get down on the left-hand side hard because that's the way the wind's blowing toward us going down the front straightaway. Going down the back straightaway, it'll be the exactly opposite. The cars will tend to get on the right side because the wind's blowing the left side panel over. So it's just something you got to get used to, but everybody's got to race the same track.
Experience, and I think using your head a little bit is going to come into play in this heat race, Ralph.
You're exactly right, Brad. Well, hi to you too, folks. Out in the grandstands here, having a good time here in Greenwood, Nebraska. Mark Kinser's got the working 5M set to go. We'll show you his race when we come back.
That looks tasty.
It's a big king. I got this one for free.
Gonna eat them both?
Not if you let me play baseball.
Baseball? Son, I coach. What position?
Shortstop. No, second base. And I want a bat, too.
Welcome aboard, slugger.
The Flame Broiled Big King. It's like a Big Mac, but tastes better with 75% more beef. Buy one now, say it just tastes better, and get a second one free.
How'd you boys like to play ice hockey?
If you ask us, it just tastes better.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur. Available by prescription only.
Nobody's even going to see that.
Comfort that never quits. Red Wing shoes. Work hard.
When you buy a set of split-fire spark plugs, you get the same technology that ignites Jim Yates, NHRA Winston Pro Stock champion, through quarter mile in under 7 seconds. The legendary split-fire Performance V spark plug, because performance is everything. Parachute sold separately.
What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
Louis Kent, they'll fillet him.
Try Crab Delights tonight.
But I was King Crab.
Saturday on TNN Motorsports. It's life on the edge, pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing, where it's tough to win anything, but easy to lose everything. To these guys, there's no such thing as fast enough. The American Speed Association AC Delco Challenge Series. It's racing that's always a wreck. Don't miss the North Carolina Sweet Potato 400 live Saturday at 4 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
You can see for our first-time visit here to the Cornhusker State, they are anxious to have the TNN cameras here, and we were really looking forward to coming here. They're very, very friendly here in Nebraska. Bobby Gerald?
And Ralph, I think despite the wind, track conditions okay otherwise, but Joe, how bad was the wind for you out there?
Well, I hadn't noticed it until that last restart when that guy had lost that wheel on the front straightaway. Boy, going in the first turn, there was a big gust right after you get past the grandstands there, so I chose to go to the bottom, just kind of give the whole racetrack for the car to move or whatever. And then as that race went, it got a lot worse. I don't know what, I guess there's some bad weather moving in or whatever.
You're safely in the A main, though, and that's the important thing. Joe Gaerte has made it in the 8H, Dave Reed.
Well, Bobby, Danny Lasowski's making some wholesale changes to the Beef Packers 83 car. He thinks the wind might definitely have something to do with that.
Hey, you bet. Out here after qualifying, the wind picked up, and it got the middle of the racetrack just slicked off, so you can either run against the curb or all the way on the bottom. So we're trying to make our car so we can run all over better than we can run just on the bottom. We were just
way too loose to run anywhere but there.
Daniel Wasowski stiffening up the 83 car, guys. I was picking on Dude earlier today because I said, man, you won $100,000. Can't you buy a razor and shave that thing off? He says, no, man, I'm going like my buddy Goldberg here. I mean, he's really into that Goldberg thing. All right, let's show you the grid for heat number 3. So they've got those cars pushed up. Bob Weave and Jamie Moyle in row 1. Skip Jackson, the strong star from Australia, has been dominating in Knoxville recent years in row 2, and Andy Hillenberg alongside of him. Mark Kinser and Stevie Smith, they're 4th and 3rd in the points chase right now. Nick Bellino and Jeff Matrison in row 4. Larry Neighbors and Randy Anderson and Bruce Divis and Dan the Sonic Man, Dan Oswald in row 6.
Yeah, you saw Danny stiffening the left rear because of that wind. And what that does, when it bangs the left side of the car down, it just turns it loose. I mean, it's just like hitting ice. When that wind hits that wing, it just turns them around right now. And they got to stiffen that up so it doesn't bang the frame rail and upset the race car getting in the corner.
Is there anything you can do driving-wise?
You try to run the car as straight as you can, enter in the corner. The last thing you want to do is flip the steering wheel and shake the car loose to where it slams even harder. You got to run it in there as straight as you can.
We're going green, heat 3.
Look at the leaders. There was a good example of the wind catching that car.
And Andy Hillenberg drove right through the middle of all of them, and he's up to 2nd, trying to take the lead down the backstretch. Here comes Skip Jackson upstairs in the red 55. Look at Mark Kinser climbing the racetrack to avoid hitting the car in front of him as Andy Hillenberg takes over the lead. Mark Kinser is in 3rd. He's right behind the 19W Bob Weave. That's the car on the bottom. Now Mark Kinser up into 2nd in the working 5M. Weave drops back to 3rd. Oh, Stevie Smith making contact with Morrow.
And sliding, Stevie just slid clear up and had to wait, pick the cushion back up. Weave going into turn 3. There's Stevie Smith. That's into turn 3 coming out of turn 4. See if he stays on the top. Yes, he does, going into turn 1.
Chasing Skip Jackson in the red 55. And there's 19 of Weave. Weave started on the front row.
Well, yeah, Weave hasn't really tried the top, especially in 3 and 4.
Maybe he doesn't like the wind up there.
Well, watch it, Stevie. Now,
oh! Stevie over the left rear. What a great bit of driving. Now, Brad, that's got to be awfully hard on that front suspension coming back down like that.
Well, he did a nice job setting it down slow, but he has that coil-over suspension on the front thing where it was an advantage of that. He did a great job easing off the throttle and not slamming the front end down.
And how frustrated is he there with Weave? Because Weave is literally, pardon the pun, weaving all over the place. You were waiting for that, weren't you? He still can't shake it.
I'll guarantee you right now, Stevie is so frustrated. I got to get around this guy. Oh, look at this.
He might have a yellow right there.
Yeah, but he just made the pass. Now he's got to go back, and he is really going to be frustrated. He is so lucky. I've said it before, folks. It's amazing what you can do with your eyes closed. And when he was with the front end 10 feet in the air like that, he had no idea how that car was going to come down, and it took a lucky bounce. He set it down, which I said he eased off the throttle. But that thing could have done a hop to the right and caught that left rear like we've seen before and turned him over.
Watch
We're going to see it again.
Stevie Smith in the Ingersoll Rand Black 19, Bob Weave just in front of him.
Now what he did here, he just misjudged his distance. Again, Ralph, I hate to look at that.
Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
For the people at home have heard me say this before, these guys cannot see the front tires, and he just misjudged his distance a little bit.
And you don't have to miss by much.
Not at all, and Weave was a little slower than he thought. Stevie got a good run, and man, was he lucky.
Hey, you think that front end is okay?
It probably, I'm sure they'll check the front axle. The front axles are pretty light in these race cars. It might have shoved the right front wheel back, which is just an axle change. And at this point, it shouldn't hurt him too much.
Yeah, but how will that affect the handling of the car if it did shove it back?
It really won't, because the neat thing about dirt racing and sprint car racing, especially the way this wind is blowing, each corner is different anyway, so the driver really has to compensate for the way the wind is and the way the race car is working. And if it has affected a little bit, all he'll do is change his driving style just a little bit, and it could possibly loosen him up a little bit. Getting in, the right front would stick, and maybe turn the car around a little bit, especially if he ran in real tight on the bottom. But depends on how far it's shoved back.
You know, one of the greatest shots I ever saw of you, I know you and I have talked about it numerous times, was at Ascot in the Coors Light car. When you came out of 2, and you picked the front end up. It was nice and tacky that day. You rode it all the way down the back straight away.
Well, had rubber down like we've seen before. And that was a deal there that I actually got used to it, because that day, to get your car fast, you literally have to hook it up to where it does wheel stands, where it doesn't spin the rear wheel. And you got to get used to running the throttle, easing on off of it, and you just get comfortable pulling wheelies.
I got to find a still photo of that. That is just one of the most awesome things. Brad Doty at Ashdown. And Stevie Smith in Nebraska. And we're green again. Skip Jackson on the bottom.
Look at that. Mark Kinser got a bite off of turn one. We've seen it so many times on a slow lap like that. After restart, they're slower going in the turn than when they are up to speed. And those guys can get on the bottom and drive right by them.
Bobby Gerald hustled down the pit road to Devin DeLucio, crew chief for Stevie Smith. And Devin says everything is okay. They leaned over the wall, took a quick look, and Stevie should be fine to finish this off. But he's got Skip Jackson to contend with now. Mark Kinser's going to get the win. The working 5M's going to the A-Main. Andy Hillenberg's taking second. Stevie Smith, wheelie, and all comes home third. Jackson will come home in fourth. And right behind him, Jamie Moyle, who started on the front row in car number 10, goes to the A-Main as well. Wow. That was some excitement, huh, for 8 laps?
Sure was. And again, they looked from the wall, but there was no guarantee that they could see that thing close up. Now they'll inspect it and make sure that...
But, you know, and we talked at the beginning about how you don't take any chances now. You think they'll take... I mean, you can look at it, and you can think you don't see anything, but sometimes you can get a little hairline crack in there. Would you change everything now?
If I were them, I would. They've got plenty of time to do it. I would put new pieces in that front end.
There you see it. Kinser, Hillenberg, Smith, Jackson, and Moyle, the top 5. And Devin DeLucio and crew already working on the Steve Smith chassis. Dave Reef.
Well, I'm down with Donnie Schatz, who was just about set to go off in our 4th heat race. Had a great Knoxville Nationals, finished 4th. Hey, but something even bigger came along the line, happened in Cottage Grove, Oregon. Tell me about that.
Well, we got lucky and won a race, finally, I guess, after 2 years of trying. Finally got that first one out of the way. It feels really good. Happy for my whole team, David Yanks and Todd Devnich. These guys have worked real hard all year. They deserve it more than I do.
And somebody was missing, though. Who would that have been?
Well, my dad wasn't there. I think he was a little upset, but, you know, that goes with territory. Hopefully we can try and win one for him here this weekend.
Win number 2 might possibly come tonight. He'll start 3rd in the 4th heat race, Bobby.
Well, Dave, starting on the outside of the front row tonight is Johnny Herrera. And Johnny, nobody likes it when they start outside of the front row because it means that you didn't qualify that well. At least in a heat race, you don't want to start outside front row.
No, we would like to be there for the feature, but we didn't get qualified real good during qualifying there. But we start front row of the heat race. We'll see if we can get our car a little bit better and get things working better and get the things to the front for the feature.
If you were at Vegas already right now, Ralph, you'd put a lot of money down on the 47 in this heat race.
Oh, you ain't kidding, Bobby. Anytime the TV camera's on, Hollywood Herrera, as Steve Evans nicknamed him a few years back, is always near the front. Good crowd on hand here in Greenwood. Well, you heard what Sammy and Dale Blaney do on the road. How about Andy Hillenberg, the old Broken Arrow, Oklahoma driver?
Yeah, most of the time we end up at the mall, you know. Probably do a little shopping and let the kids run around. Just try to change up and do something different.
If these walls could talk, they wouldn't tell you about the quality wood Fleetwood craftsmen use, but about 6-year-olds making s'mores for the first time. And they might not mention our brand name appliances, but they would tell you of surprise birthday parties. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. Call 1-800-350-2300 for a Fleetwood Homes retailer near you.
It knows 2 speeds. Stop and go. It just beat a series of the toughest stop-and-go driving tests in the world, and it's brand new. Go ahead. Guess. You have 4.3 seconds. Introducing Pennzoil with new Pure Base. Stop. Go. Pennzoil.
I made this.
I made sense of my finances. Get a compact Presario 5600 series Internet PC, and you'll have the power to make just about anything.
I made it to the next level.
And now's the time to call 1-800-331-0403 to make the ultimate computer your own. Because with the fastest Intel Pentium 2 processor available, 5X DVD-ROM, and 17-inch monitor, you can make more than you ever imagined, for less than you thought.
I made a smart investment.
You'll even get a $100 rebate just for trying Compact Easy Internet Access.
I made the most of my money.
The Compact Presario 5600 Series PC with Intel Pentium 2 processor. We'd like to make one for you. Just tell us how you want it. Call 1-800-331-0403 for a participating retailer or to buy direct from Compact.
You know, every year there are certain scenes that are just so memorable from the Outlaw Tour. Remember Donnie Schatz, Brad, at Phoenix, at Manzanita, flipping so violently down the backstretch? That was one you're never going to forget for a while.
Yeah,
Tyler
Walker
Donnie.
also, yeah.
Well, one you won't forget from this year, Stevie Smith wheeling in Nebraska, huh? What do you think downstairs?
There's no way any of us are going to forget that saw it way up in the air. Stevie will start calling you Evel Knievel. What was all that about?
Oh, I ran over a guy's left rear and the front end launched up in the air, and all I seen was the sky. So I just kind of eased back out of the pedal, and luckily it was still on all four wheels, and I kept going.
How close was that to a disaster?
It was pretty close. I need to calm down a little bit. I wanted to make sure I got in the top 5 so I can get in that dash, and you know that's just one of the moves I thought I had to make. Maybe not that drastic.
That's why they call them outlaws, Ralph.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Bobby. Well, here is heat number 4 rolling off. We'll take 5 more cars right out of this 8-lap affair into tonight's 30-lap A main with 24 cars. Justin Henderson and Johnny Herrera make up row 1. Donnie Schatz, who got his first Outlaw victory earlier. Paul McMahon in the Mopar car in row 2. Don Dowd, Jac Haudenschild, the wild child, in row 3. Craig Hodnett and Bill Robinson in row 4. Jeff Lowry and Gerald Cressman make up the 5th row, and Kevin Holsey and Scott Robertson round out the field in row 6.
Jac Haudenschild just fresh off that Gold Cup win at Chico last week.
I heard he had a pretty good spotter out there, too. We'll be back to green here. On to the outside, Jac Haudenschild, the Pennzoil 22. He's going right upstairs, Brad. Yeah, but he shots to the lead, excuse me.
But that isn't what he really wanted to do. He got pissed off in the bottom. When you got to slide clear up across the racetrack like that, it kills a lot of your time. There he is back up and back into 3rd.
So it's Schatz, Herrera, Haudenschild on the bottom from 3rd to 2nd now in front of Herrera.
Getting that move off of turn 2.
McMahon runs in 4th and Dowd runs in 5th. Schaefer, he's coming on strong in the vibrant car. He makes contact with Dowd going into 1. There's Donnie Schatz.
You know, you talked about Dave Yingst, his crew chief. It's a brother of Maynard Yingst, a good sprint car driver from Pennsylvania. Ended up being a crew chief and won the funny car championship with Bruce Larson.
That was Donnie Schatz's dad you saw there. There's Don Dowd in the BK car going up top, coming on strong. Donnie Schatz talked about getting lucky out west. I don't think it was luck, Brad. That is one very talented young sprint car driver who's going to end up winning a lot of races before his career is over.
Oh, we got contact on the front straightaway.
Yes, we do.
Paul McMahon and Don Dowd got together. McMahon lucky there. Lucky that the racetrack was slick because we saw him spin around there. We've seen the left rear dig in so many times. If that would have been a heavy, sticky racetrack, he'd have turned that race car over. I'm sure he doesn't feel real lucky right now. He's probably pretty mad, but it could have been worse. He could have turned that race car over. Going to see it again. Okay, he's got Tim Schaefer inside of him. Just gets into Dowd's. Boy, I'll tell you, Tim Schaefer's the one that's lucky in that deal. Because when it turned Paul McMahon around, Schaefer had nowhere to go. If he'd have climbed over a tire, he'd have been in big trouble.
Dave Reed.
Well, guys, much like Sammy Swindell in the first heat race, Mark Kinser was absolutely dominant in that second heat race. You guys really like this place, don't you?
Yeah, the track's been real good to me. Actually, the whole Nebraska area, you know, got a sponsor here with Phil Durst right here in town. Of course, with working in Nashville and Ray Williams in California, make all this still come real to us.
You guys haven't been exactly having the greatest season, but this is a racetrack you can come to and always do well at. Why is that?
Well, you know, I don't really know. It's a big, nice racetrack. You know, here in Knoxville and a few of the other tracks that we go to, we have a basic setup. We get to the track and we're confident when we get there. Maybe it's just a confidence factor. I'm not sure.
Well, Stevie Smith may have swept this race back last May, but this guy has won 4 of the 6 races that they have had here since the track opened, guys.
There you see the field rolling by.
Yeah, Mark Kinser's won 6 out of 9 races here, so no doubt he does like it here.
And Carl not here tonight. We go green. Riverside Speedway, was where Donnie Schatz got his first win, and Jac Haudenschild looking to take the lead away from it.
The old famous slide job, and Donnie gets back. Oh, boy, that was...
Oh, look at Herrera come rocketing up on the bottom of the 47.
For a heat race, folks.
You said this was going to be a good racetrack tonight, Brad, and it sure has been. 2-3 wide all over the place.
Well, when it slicks off a little bit like this, it does make multiple grooves, and it slows everybody down enough they can really race hard. It's not where somebody gets out and just throttles away.
Haudenschild, Schatz, Herrera, Schaefer, Droude, your top 5.
Boy, Schaefer's coming on there.
He's in the vibrant number 11, the yellow and blue car, right behind Herrera in 5th. Now, you were a spotter. You were a spotter for Haudenschild out in Chico. How was that?
Oh, it was great, Ralph. I mean, I just told him what I felt as a driver I would want to hear. Track position, things like that. He had them pretty well covered, and I just wanted to let him know that so he didn't have to overdrive the race car, and he did a heck of a job. I almost felt like I won the thing with him. Well, it has there. Schaefer had a good run, but he missed the bottom of it coming out of 2.
We hear guys talk about missing the bottom. What are you saying when you mean that?
Okay, right around the very bottom, if you get the checker.
Right around comes out. Excuse me, Brad. It'll be Haudenschild, Herrera, Schatz, Schaefer, Droude, your top 5. Now, what were you saying?
Okay, right there off the turn 2. There's moisture on the bottom. If you miss that, you just spin the wheels.
So Jac Haudenschild, no spotting from Brad Doty tonight. Did a pretty good job even without you, Doty. He's going on to the AMA.
Well, I think NASCAR and the fans are all sort of one. I mean, I've been with the sport quite a few years now, and I've seen it change over the years, but, the fans are what's built this thing. And plus, we made a lot of good friends with fans over the years. It's a uniqueness that I don't know how to explain it, but it's a lot closer. It's a much closer knit, the drivers to the fans than it is probably in any other sport. Fortunate. We got fans that have been with me when I started, and they're not fair weather fans. They're very loyal. They, like I say, we're going through a tough year right now, but they're not bailing out in the droves, and they're hanging around, and they want to see us win another race this year and keep that streak alive. So anytime you start feeling down a little bit, start looking at some of these fan letters you get, and it pumps you back up again.
It's the race you've waited for all season, and now it's on TNN. Don't miss racing history. Daytona goes under the lights in the Pepsi 400, October 17th at 8 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
It's a party like country music has never seen, and you're invited. The Grand Ole Opry 73rd Birthday Bash, October 15th through 18th, presented by Coca-Cola, IGA, and Southwest Airlines. The package includes tickets to the Ryman for Bye Bye Love, the Everly Brothers musical, the Bill Monroe Bluegrass Spectacular, a performance of the Grand Ole Opry, and more. 4 days of fun and excitement for only $66 per person. Join the party. Make your reservations now by calling 615-889-3060 today.
I love this city.
I love country.
CNN puts them together.
Great Lakes, Big Cities Week.
With Jeff Foxworthy.
It cracks me up.
The Oak Ridge Boys.
Perfect harmony.
Reba McEntire.
You go, girl.
A party full of stars.
I'm there.
Bull Nanza.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
TNN's Motor Madness.
What a riot.
And your hosts.
Me.
And me.
TNN's Bright Lights Big Cities Week. Starts October 5th.
On TNN.
You know, everybody, I always thought we had some of the most knowledgeable people in sprint car racing and automobiles in general on our TNN staff. But earlier today, I found out that 2 members of our staff owned Ford Pintos during their careers. Brad Doty and Steve Evans. And Evans, you owned a Pinto wagon?
Yeah, but it had a turbocharger on it, Ralph. That doesn't count. Doty's was normally aspirated. Look who I found. There is no more liked or respected individual in all of sprint car racing than the starter at Knoxville Raceway, Doug Clark. And here you are in the grandstands with your friends, just like a good old fan.
Well, it's one of those deals. I don't get to do this very often, so I'm just kind of sitting back here relaxing, watching the race. It's probably the second time I've been down to I-80, so I get to come down for tonight, and then I got a 2-day show up in Sioux Falls I have to go back and do.
Do you find yourself sitting in the grandstands reaching for that stick? Oh, my God, I got to throw the yellow.
Yeah, I do in a little bit. Yeah, I kind of watch the flagmen, see how they're doing, and pay attention, and maybe I can pick up a few pointers, or, if they come up and ask me later. But I just kind of be a spectator, more or less.
Enjoy your evening.
All right.
Okay, Bobby Gerald.
Steve, check this out. Earlier, we showed you the big wheelie by Stevie Smith. We saw the front of it. Well, here's the rear end, and look what it did to the tail tank. Scraped the paint off all the way around down to there and took quite a bit of it off. He rode that a long way, also took a little bit off of the rear nerf. Just thought that was pretty trick-looking one to show it to you. That's what it does when it drags on the racetrack, Dave Reef.
Well, I'm down with Jac Haudenschild, the winner of our 4th heat race, and some of his family. Looks like everybody grew hair out west. I don't know what that's all about, but you look pretty good in that heat race. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, the car felt real good. You know, we're going to make a few changes for the dash. Just try and get a little bit better for the dash.
Sounds like the tough part is maybe getting off the corners, off of 2 and off of 4.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the track's pretty slick, and there's a lot of spinning out there, so we're just trying to get the car just a little nicer coming off the corners.
So, dude, tell me a little bit about this new look beard you have.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Can't say.
I can tell you this much, guys. His wife absolutely hates it. You got a birthday wish you want to make real quick, too?
I want to tell Justin happy birthday back home, and we'll be home here in the next couple days.
Justin is Jac's son, guys.
You actually owned 2 Pintos, too, didn't you, Doty?
Hey, I like them. But this shot right here, talk about a wheelie bar. And I like the rear bumper right there. Used to have a post sticking down right there where it bends around, and the guys have done away with that because of sprint cars and all their wheelies. That bumper used to dig in and tear the bumper off and sometimes turn the car like you didn't want it to turn. So right there it paid off. The tank just rubbed like a nice wheelie bar, and he set her back down.
You know, most of the teams are running the Chevy power plant. There is the Mopar out there, but one of the most interesting pieces is the Ford that Jeff Swindell competes with. And earlier, Bobby Gerald went downstairs and talked to the crew chief about it.
In 1997, Jeff Swindell and his 2 Winners Racing crew changed motors 48 times during the course of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws season. Now, if that sounds like a lot, it is. Most teams changing motors somewhere between 10 and 15 times during the course of a season. And that's the number that Jeff and his team have gotten to this year. How'd they do it? Well, they started the year with Jack Cornette, and right away, the reliability was up, but the performance wasn't there. How'd they get the performance? They went to this name, a trusted name in sprint car racing, Gaerte Motors. Earl Gaerte of Rochester, Indiana, is now maintaining these motors, and already Jeff has won a race at Medford, Oregon, a brand new bullet under the hood tonight for crew chief Rob Hart and his driver Jeff Swindell, and you guys just seem much happier now.
It's always a lot easier when your motor's performing. The motors we had earlier with Jack Cornette were primarily built for late models, and he's real dominant in the late model division. And he just wasn't as familiar with sprint cars and injectors. And when we took the motors, we had trouble with one of the motors. We took it to Earl to get it freshened. He found a couple things with the injectors that he could do that was made it a little better, and it's increased the performance tremendously.
I think to the fans in the grandstands and those watching on TV, it's noticeable. You can see that this car is going faster than it was at the early part of the season. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you look at our records in the last couple of, last 10 or 12 races, we went from averaging 8th and 10th to averaging 5th, 4th, and I mean, we've been in contention for a couple of big wins.
And that Ford, I wouldn't be surprised, Brad, to see them get a win with that Ford before the year is out, especially since we're going to Vegas near the end of the year. Well, I got to jump on a plane first thing tomorrow morning because I got to go to Kenly, North Carolina, and I sure hope you'll join us tomorrow here on TNN Motorsports. It's a critical points race as the ASA racers end their season at Southern National Speedway with several points battles to be decided. Make sure you don't miss it. The North Carolina Sweet Potato 400 presented by Golden Corral Restaurants. We'll be there live at 4 p.m. Eastern right here on TNN Motorsports tomorrow morning. We'll come back with more in a little bit. And what does Jeff Swindell do on the road?
Well, it really varies, because there's so much different things to do in the country, and I've made a lot of friends over all the years, in different places. So normally we get to visit a lot of our friends in different places, like I was just out at Brizio Street Rod, stay with him for a week out in San Francisco, a little.
When people ask me where they can get a good value on their horse supplies, well, I tell them the new equine department at Tractor Supply. Tractor Supply has the tack, the feed, and the veterinary supplies that we need to take good care of our horses. They also have our new John Lyons signature products in the videotapes. So if you want a good value and you want to take excellent care of your horse, go see Tractor Supply. They'll help you out.
Dear True Value, after 3 attempts to install a faucet I bought there, your salesman did something kind of amazing. He offered to come and help do the job himself. The price for his services? A ride to my home. It made me feel great. And I think the True Value guy felt pretty good about it, too. Until the ride back to the hardware store.
Will you come back for dinner?
One night of music, one great cause, and only one place you can see it. Farm Aid 98, exclusively on CMT. 8 great hours of live music, Saturday, October 3rd. Join America's music legends, along with an all-star lineup, as they make music history and help America's farmers. Farm Aid 98, Saturday, October 3rd, beginning at 4 p.m. Eastern. Only on genuine CMT.
What's wrong?
Phone bill came.
Dad's mad?
Very mad.
Feeling bad?
Feeling dumb.
How come?
Didn't dial 10-10-321.
10-10-321?
Should have dialed 10-10-321.
Cheaper than AT&T?
On every call in the U.S.
Anything else?
50% off all calls over 20 minutes.
50%?
50%.
Day or night?
Night or day.
What about international?
Great rates.
Just dial 10-10-321.
Then 1, and the number as usual.
No fees?
No sign up.
Just dial.
And save.
Wow, you're dumb.
Well, miraculously, Carl Kinser has shown up on our TV screen, and yours too, I'm sure. He had taken a few weeks or a few races off, and the swing went out to California to go back, and we weren't sure he was going to be here, Brad.
And that's not that unusual. I mean, Carl has been leading the point championships before and skipped the California swing to stay home, and he doesn't sit home and watch TV. He builds wings and gets ready for next season.
So let's talk to Carl now that he's snuck in the back gate, Bobby.
That's right. He was away for a couple of weeks out there in California, but he is back here tonight, and I'm sure that Mark is happy to have him back. Carl, why did you leave there for a couple of weeks?
Well, I caught a flu bug or something at Knoxville, and took me about 2 weeks to get me completely down, so I had to fly home and recuperate, and so I'm back feeling pretty good.
Now, there's a lot of speculation about what you guys might do. Not too early to start talking about the next season. Are you back here with the 5M next year with your son behind the wheel and a Chevy under the hood?
Well, Mark's going to be driving the car. The Chevy under the hood's kind of in question right now. Mopar, and we've been talking with some positive thoughts on both sides, so maybe something will happen.
We'll just have to wait and see. 1999 will tell us the whole story, I guess, Carl and Ralph and Brad.
Hey, Carl's been watching a lot of the news lately. He's pretty good at dodging the answer, isn't he?
Yeah, we'll find out here in a couple of weeks what's going on there.
Hey, Miller Lite News and Notes coming to you from Martinsville, Virginia. Look at the qualifying. Some names in there that you don't normally see in the top 5. Ernie's on the pole, but Ricky Rudd looking for his first win of 98 to keep that streak going of a win every year. Jeff Gordon's in 3rd. That's no surprise. But look at Rich Bickle and Wally Dallenbach Jr. in the 5th position. Dale Jarrett is 10th. Mark Martin is 13th. Rusty Wallace is 17th. Earnhardt missed the top 25. He is 32nd after the first round of qualifying. Dave Reed?
Well, I'm down with Paul McMahon, the current driver of Gary Stanton's Mopar car. When you started this thing, Paul, you knew you'd be racing through the end of the year. Have you heard anything about the plans, and what are your plans beyond this year?
Well, Dave, you know, me and Gary, when we talked about coming back and out and doing this, is to just go through the end of the season, because we both didn't know what was going to happen at the end of the year. Right now, you know, I'm searching my options for next year, looking for a ride, because we just don't know what's actually going to happen here. I just appreciate Gary giving me another opportunity to come back and drive the Mopar car, and hopefully we'll get through the B main and get going up front in the feature.
You had a pretty interesting heat race here on the front stretch. A nice slick racetrack kept this car right side up. Tell me about it from your perspective.
The 1BK just got underneath me and gave me a nice slide job, and I tried to turn back underneath him and get underneath him coming down the front stretch. And as slick as it is, you know, just kind of the cars are moving around, and we just kind of hit, you know, my right front hit his left rear and just kind of spun me sideways. I just stood on the brake pedal as hard as I could to keep the thing right side up and have a shot at coming back to finish 5th, but we didn't make it, so we'll start 4th in B main and get this thing up front.
Well, let's keep her going for the rest of the night, all right?
All right, Dave.
Let's take a look at the grid for the C main as we get set to take 2 cars out of here to the B main. Matt Wasman and Randy Anderson in row 1, Gerald Crispin, Larry Pinniger, Dean Chad and Bruce Divis in row 3, Hulsey and Robertson in the 4th row, and all the way to the back, you see both the Oswald, Jenkins, and Barr and Lamberts, but also in there will be Jeff Swindell at the very, very, very back in the 104 octane boost entry, the backup car. He has got, there you see him at the very back, he's got to get to either 1st or 2nd to get the transfer.
Yeah, and right in front of him is the 12L that's lost 2 left rear tires. If I was Jeff, I would be trying to get around him as soon as possible.
Yeah, where would you go, high or low?
Wherever he doesn't go, that's all he can do.
If you had to place a bet, if Mark and Carl are going to get that Mopar deal?
I would have to bet that they do.
I would think you're right.
A lot of talk going on there.
Yep, that's going to be the hot subject. Make sure you tune in to our telecast from Las Vegas in November. I'm sure we'll have the answer for you there. Here we go, the C-Main, 2 cars to the B. Pinnaker, the 11L, the black car. He slides up into second. Came out of the second row. That's good for transfer. He's got Randy Anderson in front of him, the 71A. Here comes Jeff Swindell. He's up to 10th.
Got a spin out of turn 2 as Jeff saw it in time to avoid it. Went out around him. And that shot of Jeff is showing
Matt
you could see he really got out of the throttle and turned the car before we actually saw what happened. So you could tell he checked up right there, and luckily he saw that race car.
That's Matt Wasman's 4W.
Now this is what Jeff Swindell needed. This will slow the race down. And again, going into turn 1, it depends on where the cars go, but if he goes to the bottom, we've seen it work so often, if the cars slide up and give him enough room, he should be able to drive by a couple coming out of turn 2. But again, that's all, you know, that's maybe what he's hoping for. But obviously, if they all go to the bottom, he has no choice but to go to the top.
To Bobby Gerald.
Well, Ralph, we talked about the Gaerte-Ford combination now for Jeff Swindell. Here's a little stat to kind of drill this point home about how good this team has been running. In 8 of their last 10 races, they have been in the top 10. Now, you compare that with early in the season when this team was struggling to run in the top 15 some nights, and on some of the shows, you know, they might even have to use a provisional to get up there into the AMA. So they really have gained some ground here in the Ford Motor program in just the last month.
And Earl Gaerte told me at Chico last week it's like 14 horsepower more than his Chevys right now. So he definitely found something.
Bobby, if you can hear me, you might want to check to see if that is a Ford or a Chevy, because I know they have Chevys as backup engines, and I don't know if their backup car has a Chevy in it or if it comes with the Ford.
Well, when they showed the shot, the headers looked like the Chevrolet motor, and when they showed the shot earlier when they were dragging it out. But yeah, I couldn't get a close enough look to tell for sure. So if Bobby can find that out. And again, that's they're a little short on engines, and so they just kept the Chevy in there if that's the case.
And then that could be tough, too, because everything you've been gaining on the Ford, obviously they haven't been working to gain probably on the Chevy. They could be even farther behind.
Yeah, and it just sits in the trailer till they need it like tonight. So fueling and things like that, we talked about how critical that is. Now all of a sudden, Rob Hart, the crew chief's got to try to tune this Chevy, and it's different from the Ford.
Is it radically different or somewhat different?
It's somewhat different.
As far as tuning?
It's somewhat different. It's still fuel injected, it's still alcohol, but with the head change that Earl Gaerte just made on the Ford, I don't know how critical their fuel system is.
Dave Reed?
Ralph, let's go ahead and find out the answer from Rob Hart about that Chevy Ford issue with Jeff Swindell in the backup car. What motor is in the car?
It is a Chevrolet. It's one of Earl Gaerte's Chevrolets, the one we had earlier in the year and also the one we won at Knoxville.
Just one of the unfortunate things about this, there was just no time really to make the switch, was there?
Just because of the fact of 2 cars and having to swap cars, because we're tearing the other car up. Our spare car had the Chevy in it, still left from Knoxville, so that's what we ran.
And there you have it, guys.
Thanks, Dave. Well, if it's a Knoxville engine, it's probably got some pretty good oomph to it.
Yeah, I mean, they build these engines with as much oomph as they can get in them, you know, and some of them come out better with the same pieces and parts than the rest of them. They just, whichever one has the biggest numbers, the one they save for the big races.
Oh, and a pretty good jump for Pinnaker, but they make contact, and Anderson gets spun around.
Everybody gets by.
They'll have to pull Randy Anderson off the inside berm and restart this one. Two cars will come out of the C to the A main, scheduled for 10 laps.
The B main. They'll go the back.
I'm sorry, to the B
main. Okay, we're going to. This is into turn 1. And that's just a deal where they just got together.
Trying to squeeze it in there, huh?
Yeah, everybody, did you see that brown strip right around the bottom that we talked to? You asked me earlier about missing the bottom. That bottom is the groove, and they were fighting for that spot, and they both wanted to get down there as quick as they could and just made contact.
Like Anderson still sitting in the car.
And he didn't see him. When he turned, he started toward the bottom. There's no way he could see the car till it was too late, and they just made contact.
working Woody over there to push him off.
You might know, the tow wrap right there, they were backing the engine down with these the no clutches and things. When it kills the engine like that, they'll load up with alcohol and in the cylinders, and if you try to push it off, it can bend the rods and blow the engine up. So you got to leave it in gear, back it off, and it pumps that raw fuel out the exhaust valves out into the headers.
Thank you.
Cars continue to circulate. Jeff Swindell has picked up a few, Brad, but he's got a long way to go. He's in 10th right now, and he's got to get to at least 2nd.
And I've said it before with the cones, the way they have it, used to be a guy could jump and get 4 or 5 positions on a restart, but you can't do that anymore with that orange cone the way they have it. Whether it be on the front or the back straightaway, you can't pass until you get by it.
Well, we're joined in the booth by TNN's other former Pinto owner, Steve Evans.
You know, when I had that turbocharged pen, I would have blown the doors off the bicycle you were riding.
Bicycle.
I was at Chico when I was in college. Vinegar up front.
Oh, Jeff got a nice move coming out of 2, but he kind of got stuck in the middle there. But he makes a pass.
You're watching the fight for second with Gerald Crispin in that 56. That's the transfer spot, and here you see the 104 octane boost car of Jeff Swindell coming along. He's working
right
with 60W of Went.
There's that brown spot. He stuck it down there. He got by him.
You know, arguably, Jeff Swindell is the best driver in this C-Main. If he had a real tacky racetrack, he might be able to prove that. But on the slick racetrack, his experience and even his maybe slight horsepower advantage isn't doing much for him.
Gets around the 56 of Crispin.
Spinning the tires.
Right there, that's coming off for second right there.
Divots,
he should have the line.
Divots in the 1M on the bottom of the yellow car.
Now coming off right. Jeff will stick that right rear up there on the moisture and drive by. There he goes. Coming out of 4.
So that puts him into second. That is a transfer spot. Now let's see if he can catch Pinniger.
Well, he's not going to do anything stupid at this point to catch Pinniger. If it comes to him or Pinniger backs up to him, he'll do something then. But right now, he's just making sure that he doesn't spin that car out. He's saving his tires a little bit.
Well, the remaining 5 laps are very important for Jeff because he's shaking the car down now at this point. The first job was to get into the A.
Right.
Now he's got to figure out what he's got to do to get into the B. Now he's got to figure out what he's got to set the car up to win the B.
Yep, and he's on open racetrack right now. You have more time to concentrate as a driver when you're an open racetrack like this, to concentrate on what the chassis is doing, where your tire spin is, and what you got to do to correct it. When you're dicing with all those cars in and out of traffic, you don't have a lot of time. I mean, sure, you're feeling your race car, but right now, he's going to go to the inside and slide up. Oh, and the 11 car Powell got in the wall. That was a big break for Jeff.
Pinniger right at the top along the fence line, now back to the bottom.
And that could have been the wind, which it looks like it's died down a little bit. That could have been the wind that blew Pinniger up over the cushion getting into turn 3.
Trust me, I just came in from outside and trying to close the door to this booth. It's like the old Sergeant Preston series. Remember, you could never get the door shut to the cabin? That's kind of what it feels like. It is whipping.
He just misjudged, and that wind blew him up over top the cushion. Luckily, he kept it out of the wall. Because he's in a transfer spot, so he doesn't want to do anything stupid right now.
They talked about how this racetrack is very similar to Vegas, and we've seen Jeff Swindell come from the back to win in Vegas.
Horsepower or whatever, but Jeff Swindell has a nice setup, and he's got an easy foot on the throttle. We got the last lap. On a slicker racetrack like this, he's good at keeping the car straight and running that throttle easy without spinning the tires.
They're on the white flag lap. Larry Pinniger in the 11 car, the black machine, chasing that man. Jeff Swindell to the checkered flag. He did it from the back to the front to win the C main. He and Pinniger will go on to the B main. We'll have it for you when we come back to I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska after these words.
For over 60 years, Mopar Parts Division of Chrysler Corporation has been building a name for itself. The only name guaranteed to perform in Chrysler Corporation vehicles.
Plymouth Hemi-powered cars finish first, second, and third.
On the track or on the street.
Big Daddy Don Garment has broken the 270 miles.
Always insist on Mopar Parts.
Alderman and Jeffrey on finish 1.
Get real. Get Mopar.
Hey there, this is your Colonel talking. Now, I got something here that's downright fun. My new popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. It's mouth-popping good. Woo, look at them go. you down to KFC, try my new popcorn chicken for $1.99. It's more fun than watching me, unless, of course, Colonel get funky. Go, Colonel. Go, Colonel. At KFC, we do chicken right, and not just in a bucket, neither.
Milwaukee's best.
We asked Jim Yates, NHRA Winston Rostock champion, why he chose Splitfire spark plugs.
The legendary Splitfire Performance V Advantage, because performance is everything.
What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
Louis Kent, I'll fillet him.
Try Crab Delights tonight.
But I was King Crab.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and look natural? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell. With Just for Men Gel.
Brush in and in 5 minutes, gray is gone.
No one can tell. With Just for Men Gel.
Next Friday on TNN Motor Madness. They're the most outrageous pulling vehicles in the world. You've got to see these supercharged chariots chew up the track. Jets, multi-engines, whatever it takes for a full pull. Plus, there's big rigs that really haul. Join Dusty and the Dream Team as the madness pulls into Wisconsin. Don't miss the Dairyland Super Nationals Tractor Pull. Next Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TNN Motor Madness.
There's the TNN Motorsports souvenir trailer. All the latest stuff from TNN Motorsports and the Outlaws. Here's the results from the C main. Jeff Swindell, the winner. Larry Pinniger will join him in the B main. Let's talk to Jeff. Bobby?
Well, Jeff Swindell gets the win in that C main. And, Jeff, what were you able to learn out there from the racetrack?
Well, I was able to learn that it's hard to come from way back. I mean, you know, the C main there, we was kind of inching our way up through there, but there's a couple of good guys running real good. You know, it's a bad deal, just a bad deal to have to come out like that. You know, we got such a good race car and a good team now, and everything's been gelling really good, and the motor's been running really good. So, you know, it's just real sad. I guess it's pretty fortunate, though. We've had 2 cars. We built 2 brand new cars in the winter, and that's the first car we tore up all year. And, I mean, I don't think anybody else in the pits can say that. We knew it was coming. It was way overdue. So, I mean, you know, hey, that's just part of the racing. And, hey, we'll take her on down the road and see if we can't get through this. The B-main's going to be really tough to get through because the track's real slick. It's hard to make up any ground. But, hey, team's working.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching Jeff Swindell. He is sore, Ralph and Brad.
Oh, I bet he is, and that crew is going to be a little sore tomorrow after they hustled so hard. They did a lot of work to get that backup car ready. Did a fantastic job, Rob's bunch. We'll be back with more right after this.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Huh?
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Yeah, man. Chunky sirloin burger with loads of vegetables and lots of beefy sirloin burgers, grilled to perfection.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Why do you keep saying that? Mama.
Gotta make sure you eat good.
Campbell's Chunky Sirloin Burger. It's loaded with beef.
A lot of folks in Johnson City, Tennessee will tell you when you need a part for your car, go to AutoZone. The parts are top quality, the prices are low, and the people are helpful, like Gary Jennings. You see, when it comes to auto parts, folks will tell you Gary really knows his stuff. Oh, sure, they know there are other parts stores in town, but when it comes to getting the right part, the right price, and good advice from folks like Gary, there's just no place better than AutoZone.
Motor Madness, brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Well, TNN Motorsports have taken the cameras all the way to Nebraska to bring you live coverage. Pennzoil World of Outlaws from I-80 Speedway. Today, Reef with the King of the Outlaws, Steve Kinser.
And, Ralph, when you're in a points race, what better place to start the dash that sets up our A-main field than on the pole? That's just where Steve Kinser is. But, Steve, you have yet to feel comfortable inside the Quaker State car, so you've made some radical changes for this dash.
Yeah, we've made some changes. We're going to use this for a little bit of a test session, and I hope we stumble onto something here, and I hope we step toward the front here and get us a good starting spot in the feature.
What kind of changes did you make?
Yeah, we made some torsion bar spring rate changes and some air pressures and a little bit of everything, just to be honest with you.
Guys, it's a little bit bigger in a test session. Steve Kinser still plans to try and win this thing, obviously.
Steve Kinser, you can never count him and Guy Forbrook out, and that's turned out to be a good combination. Scott Gerken back working with the team out of Indiana, getting everything ready. Well, there's always a lot going on in Hazard County as well. And for daily helping of Racing Romance and Roscoe P. Coltrane, Doty just nuzzles the pinto right up to the TV screen and doesn't miss the Dukes of Hazzard. See it weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern right here on America's Country Home, TNN. Hey, we're coming right back to Greenwood, Nebraska. Now there's a good racing hat.
Victoria Molinari. She pays the mortgage and raises a little girl. But you should see the balance on her credit cards. So she calls us up. Pretty soon she's got the Back on Track plan at the money store. With a home equity loan, we pay off her cards and save her $400 a month. She even gets a reward for making payments on time. Automatic reductions on the interest rate. Hey, Victoria, you did it.
The Money Store. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
Okay, lose the broom and the vacuum. This is very new Pledge Wood Floor Cleaning Spray for light cleaning between moppings. A simple spray, and the only thing you'll leave behind is a beautifully clean wood floor. Pledge Wood Floor Cleaning Spray. Beautifully clean wood floors between moppings. S.C. Johnson Wax.
It's life on the edge. Pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing. The S stands for speed. See the North Carolina Sweet Potato 400 Saturday at 4 Eastern on TNN Motorsports.
Yep, here it is. I'm afraid we got a little problem.
What now?
May cost a bit more than what I said earlier. Not sure if we have that part in stock. We got to call the warehouse, and finding the part's going to be near impossible. The fact is, it may cost.
With CMT's Big Ticket, you hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see. It's your front row seat to today's biggest country stars. See the music you want to hear on Big Ticket. Every night at 9 Eastern, only on genuine CMT.
I don't believe this.
Ma'am, what's your hurry? Tried to stop you a little ways back. I'm going to need your driver's license. Probably wondering why. Let me give you some reasons. About a busted taillight, about no safety belt. I tried to stop you back there, but you flew right by.
With CMT, you hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see. It's your place to turn for world premiere videos of today's biggest stars. See the music you want to hear, only on genuine CMT.
There's a good look at the main grandstands here at Greenwood, Nebraska's I-80 Speedway. The Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown is why we're here. Beginning of this 10-race streak to the championship.
If you're into statistics, over the 1998 season, Jac Haudenschild has won more of the Channel Lock dashes than any other driver with 12. And Mark Kinser in the second spot with 10 Channel Lock dash wins.
You know, Bobby, this racetrack has been changing a lot. What's the latest with the tires?
Well, Ralph, it's funny that you asked because it really is a night where tires could come into play. It's interesting in this dash, all of the participants, with the exception of 2, have on a Goodyear 20. That's a very soft tire. Tyler Walker has on a 25C. That's kind of the middle of the road. And then the only guy with a real hard compound tire right now is Stevie Smith. He has on a 40. They say that they are scrubbing it in for the main event, trying to get that 40 tire a little bit of a head start on tonight's 30-lapper. And Brad Doty, you can tell us how maybe that'll help them about mid-race.
Well, this racetrack, I commented earlier to these guys that it might get some rubber down. What that means is the tires burn the rubber off. It sticks to the racetrack and makes a better, stickier racetrack. And you heard those guys are going to run a 40, which is a little harder tire, because they think it's going to get a little abrasive and even take some more rubber off than this soft one's can handle.
Here's your Channel Lock dash grid. Kinser, Walker, Haudenschild, Smith, Wasowski, and Swindell. For the first 3 rows, Mark Kinser and Don Drought right behind him.
Hey, bicycle boy, at least I had a car.
No, now I had a car in Chico. I had an RX-7. The bike was easier to get around Chico in. It's a college town. We're green. Kinser.
Woo, using every bit of it. See the dust fly off that roof? He is close to the wall.
Stevie Smith up into 3rd. Tyler Walker holds 2nd. Look at Jac Haudenschild on the bottom.
Man, is he working.
Haudenschild's going for 2nd.
As we said, he has won more of these Channel Lock Dash is an any other driver, and he had a bit of a season off due to some injuries.
And that takes, I've talked about it before, discipline to run in the middle of the racetrack and back pedal on the throttle, man. You get up beside a guy, you want to mash that pedal and drive by him, and that's the worst thing you can do. You got to ease on it so you don't bust the tires.
Really driving with the feel from the seat of the pants.
Absolutely. You got to feel when the tires are hooking up, then you squeeze the throttle a little more. If it's spinning, you back off.
The crowd is loving the fight up front in the Channel Lock Dash, especially when Jac Haudenschild was right on the way to Steve Kinser.
Did you see how Steve came down and shut the door on him?
Shut the door, and that upset Jack's race car and got him up in the slick where he had a nice line going, momentum. He had to check up and couldn't ease on that throttle like we talked about.
And that's great peripheral vision as you go on board with Danny Lasowski, because remember, there's no mirrors, and Steve just had a feeling and saw a glimpse of Jack.
You do. You just, with earplugs and things, you can't really hear the other guys unless they're right up beside you like that.
White flag is out. Steve Kinser leading Jac Haudenschild. Pennzoil car hot on the bottom, and the Pennzoil car's going to win it.
And the crowd has gone wild.
Haudenschild beats Kinser. Walker comes home in third. Lasowski is fourth. Stevie Smith gets fifth. Sammy Swindell is sixth. Mark Kinser is seventh. And Don Drought rounds them out. But it was that last corner that made all the difference. And Jac Haudenschild has won his, what is it, Steve? His 13th?
Yep, 13th.
13th Channel Lock Dash. Down to Dave Reed.
Well, I'm down with Bobby Weave. He didn't have quite that much excitement in his heat race, but there was plenty of it. Stevie Smith getting up over the top of you, and car just getting absolutely crazy. What goes on in your mind when you get in those kind of tight situations like you did in your heat?
Well, the track was definitely a little slick, and we were both trying to go for the same spot, obviously, and those things happen once in a while.
And unfortunately, you got relegated to sixth, which means you get to run the B main. But that can be a good thing, though, can it?
Well, yeah, maybe we'll get a little extra track time. The track got a little slicker than what I thought in my heat race, and I just kind of missed it.
Bob Weave, you start on the pole. Good luck to you, man.
Well, I'll see if I can bring home a checkered flag. Hi to everybody in Newton, Iowa.
I don't think Steve Kinser is too disappointed losing that dash, because that will put him on the outside of the front row for the feature tonight. That's a pretty good place to be.
To Bobby Gerald with our winner.
Well, just getting his helmet off, here's the wild child. And Jack, that was an exciting dash there. Tell us about that last move you put on Steve Kinser.
Well, the car's working real good. We got under the bottom there, and it started sticking in the rubber, and it's just getting off the bottom real good, and hopefully it'll be that way in the future.
You guys have been hot. You came off of the win in the Gold Cup, and how much does that momentum carry over, even to a race like this, make you get your elbows up?
Yeah, it really does. You know, when you can run good, it just makes you feel better about the next race. So we're feeling real good right now, and the crew guys are doing a great job. So we're just hoping to carry it on the rest of the year.
Once again, we're getting a look at the pass right now. Can you describe that pass for us again here in the dash?
Well, Stevie just got a little high getting in there, and we got underneath him going into 3 there. So we just got underneath him right there and got off the bottom a little better.
Jac Haudenschild is going to be starting on the pole of tonight's feature event. We said that it makes him get his elbows up, but really that was kind of silly to say, because Ralph and Brad, you know this guy, if there's anybody out there that always has his elbows up, it's the Wild Child.
With a nickname like that, Bobby, you're exactly right. There's only one way you can get that nickname. You got to be standing on the gas, sitting up in the seat, elbows wide, and that.
How do I make my escape? With something chocolatey. Viennese Chocolate Cafe from General Foods International Coffees. Tastes so rich and creamy. It's my chocolatey getaway from the everyday. General Foods International Coffees. That's how I unplug.
In search of a new scent, Snuggle didn't settle until he found that clean, peaceful fresh that only comes after the rain falls down.
Oh, Eureka!
Introducing Fresh Rain Snuggle Fabric Softener.
Breathe deep.
Giving your deck a facelift is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Creating the perfect patio is a snap, step by step. Now decks, porches, and patios gives you step-by-step help for all your outdoor projects. It's filled with color illustrations, tricks of the trade, and there's even a special long flat binding. Take the first step by ordering decks for only $1.99. Use your credit card and get kitchens free. That's 2 books for just $2. Tackle any project with Time Life's home repair and improvement books. Give your kitchen a makeover with custom cabinets. Freshen up the bathroom with a new shower. Call now to get 2 books for $2. Use your credit card to order decks and get kitchens free. With home repair and improvement, you can turn your house into the home of your dreams.
Call 1-800-955-7007 to get 2 books for $2. Order decks for $1.99. Use your credit card and get kitchens free. That's 1-800-955-7007.
Welcome back to the Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown. Boy, it's a great weekend in this part of the country. The big Nebraska-Washington game tomorrow in Lincoln, Nebraska, just west of here. And, of course, tomorrow night, the Outlaws back in action here in the Pennzoil World of Outlaws on a Saturday night. Dave Reed?
Ralph, Guy Forbrook and Steve Kinser just got done talking after that amazing pass by Jac Haudenschild. Of course, from Steve Kinser's seat, it wasn't that amazing. That test session didn't quite yield the results you wanted, but you're picking up on it slowly.
Well, I just got a little loose down the backstretch and got in the middle there, and I actually don't really know where I want to be on the racetrack right now. So we're still chasing a little bit. We're going to watch this be and see where the track comes in at.
Seems like what you're chasing maybe a little bit is this race car. You mentioned that this was a car that was crashed in Knoxville, and you guys haven't been able to quite get all the bugs out of it yet.
Well, we ran this car after we crashed at Knoxville a time or two, and we had a real good car. It was running really good, and this is a good car. We just got to find out what it likes right now.
Well, the outside of the front row is just as good as the inside. It's at least on the front row for tonight's 30-lapper, guys.
Steve Kinser will go up into the front of the trailer, and he's really enjoying racing here in the back half of the season. His energy has been up all year long, which is new for him. Coming up on the next TNN Motor Madness, we'll have the NTPA Dairyland Super Nationals Truck and Tractor Pull from Tomah, Wisconsin. Boy, that got Evans up in the seat. You'll see the most powerful tractors in the country go for a full pull. Don't miss it Friday night at 8 Eastern on TNN's Motor Madness.
You know, you talked about the crowd here. I'm surprised. We're only a quarter mile off of I-80. There's semi-trucks lined up out here in the parking lot that timed their trips around this race, and they're just stacked up out here. I think that's pretty neat.
And they tell me tomorrow night this grandstand will be a sea of red as the football fans head east out of Lincoln, drop into I-80 Speedway for the Pennzoil World of Outlaws.
Where are they going to put them, huh? It's full now.
It's going to be a great game, too. Nebraska ranked number 2, Washington number 8. First big game of the year, really, for Nebraska.
And they love their football out here.
You know, we talked about Steve being really excited this back half of the season, and talking to him earlier, he said, you know, usually this time of year he's kind of anxious for the season to get over and get a little break in or go to Australia. But this year, he says he really hates to see it end with what's been going on with him and Guy Forbrook and Scott Gherkin. He says it's really made racing the back half of the season enjoyable. Let's take a look at the grid for the B-Main. Bob Weave and Travis Cram in row 1. Travis Whitney and Paul McMahon will be up in row 2. Henderson, Madsen, Bellino, and Pittman in row 4. Morrow, Matrison, Robertson, Young all the way back through Lowry and Moore in row 8. And then way back behind them is where we'll find Jeff Swindell. And remember, Jeff is going to have to get all the way up to the front again, as we will take just 4 cars out of this to the B-Main. There you see Jeff and Larry Pinniger in row number 9.
Okay, Jody, how far up can Jeff get? Give me
boy, that's putting me on the spot.
I know, I like that.
If he has enough he's going to need a lot of cautions to get there. I'll go that far. He's going to need a lot of cautions.
When you say a lot of cautions, 3, 2?
I'd say at least 3.
That is a lot of cautions.
Here we go.
McMahon coming up the high side. Oh, we got a spinner. The Amoco car, the 7 machine of Whitney.
Swindell's going to hate to see that because he had a really good start. He had passed about 5 cars by the time he got to the incident.
Well, that's yellow number 1, but it came at the wrong time.
Yep.
Yeah, what he needs to do is run a couple laps, get up through the field, and then when they get strung out, you need a yellow to back the field back up to you to where you can make those moves and make something happen, get beside a guy, maybe you know, intimidate him enough to screw up and you go by.
Let's take a look at the replay here. Whitney's in that white 7. Clear by the flag stand.
Right there, it just turns it around.
Looked like the car moving down in front of him upset his turning point. And
well, and these cars only have three-wheel brakes. There's no right front brake. So you stab the brake too hard or you'll react on the brake, and it will spin the car right out instantly.
Well, they're going to push the 7S of Travis with me off, and we'll be back to I-80 Speedway for more of the Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown. Where else but on TNN Motorsports?
Mud holes, dirt roads. Most people wouldn't think of driving through stuff like that. But then that's the beauty of Subaru all-wheel drive. It automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip, which means it does the thinking for you.
Sorry, mate. Guess I wasn't thinking.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur. Available by prescription only.
I'm Iron Head Hayward, and I challenge you to try Zest Body Wash.
But Iron Head, I need some serious lather.
It takes 9 bars to get as much cleaner rinsing lather as Zest Body Wash with lather fingers.
Get cleaner, more refreshed.
Get zestfully clean. What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
Louis tender. I'll fillet him. Try Crab Delights tonight. But I was King Crab.
Do you have trouble driving in the rain? Is the glare unbearable at night? That's why STP created Vision Blade glass treatment. Vision Blade forms an invisible barrier that repels water and virtually eliminates glare. It applies in minutes, and it lasts for 6 months. This muddy water sticks to the glass on the untreated side. But with Vision Blade, the dirt and grime sheets away, and your view remains clear. And now Vision Blade is available in 2 sizes to meet all drivers' needs. See what you've been missing with Vision Blade.
I love this city.
I love country.
TNN puts them together.
Red lights, big cities week.
With Jeff Foxworthy.
It cracks me up.
The Oak Ridge Boys.
Perfect harmony.
Reba McEntire.
You go, girl.
A party full of stars.
I'm there.
Bull Nanza.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
TNN's Motor Madness.
What a riot.
And your hosts.
Me.
And me.
TNN's Bright Lights Big Cities Week. Starts October 5th.
On TNN. Well, the C feature or B feature cars, I'll get my letters straight. The B feature cars are still rolling around as we continue our Pennzoil World of Outlaw coverage here on TNN Motorsports. And it's time for our Maalox Minute. Maalox for heartburn or acid indigestion. Count on 1 minute Maalox. Who else would it be but Jeff Swindell, the first laps of the first heat tonight. The 104 octane boost car right in the middle. Watch what happens, Brad.
And watch this. About right there, he knows he's in trouble. And he really knows he's in trouble.
They talk about seeing Earth Sky. Do you really see that?
You know, I never have. It happens so fast.
Whoa.
It jars your eyes closed. But the thing, when he hit on the tail tank, and you heard Jeff say his neck, and it kind of rung his bell, when they hit on the tail tank like that, it slams your head into the back of the roll cage, and it'll knock you out.
Well, Jeff Swindell for Maalox for heartburn or acid indigestion. Count on 1 minute Maalox. Jeff Swindell is the subject of our Maalox Minute.
Okay, complete restart. Okay, they're lining up down the back straightaway. At this point, Jeff's just going to watch everybody and try to pick a hole and hope that they move out of his way.
If you transfer out of this B, you do your time trial back into the A, so you can start at least halfway up.
Bob Weave on the jump. And then Travis Cramp comes back in the 12 to take it. The lead. Paul McMahon in the Mopar coming up to 75. There he goes. He's in third. 4 cars going on to the A.
That just shows to me that right there, that last corner, that Jac Haudenschild race car was set up pretty nice too in that dash. It wasn't all just tire rubber on the racetrack, because these guys, Paul McMahon went in that same groove and couldn't make a pass.
That's Darin Pittman in the 11P, and here comes Jeff Swindell. He's up to 14, closing in.
Whoa. Boy, had a nice run too and had to check up on the throttle. He'll go to the top, try to go around this guy.
That's Young in front of him. Scott Young.
What happened there, Jeff? Missed that bottom groove, and sat there and spun his tires and had to wait to squeeze that throttle.
Up to 12th now is Swindell, as Scott Young, and that white Y1Y is the 11th place car.
Now let's see if Jeff goes to the extreme top. He's trying the middle. Now he's going to go up there and try to get on that cushion a little bit coming off. There's just a lot of dust and powder up there.
You can really see how he slowed as that car drifted up.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you're actually backing up the bank backwards. It's so slow.
Travis Cram, Pittman, McMahon, and Matz in the top 4. They would transfer Weave, Robertson, Henderson, Bellino, Morrow, and Young in the top 10.
Boy, they're getting strung out. Jeff Swindell definitely would have to have a yellow right now to bunch his field back up to have any chance at all to get in.
And look at Pittman inside to take the lead. So Darin Pittman now up into the lead, and it looks like Weave is pulling off the track on the back straightaway. Here comes Jeff Swindell. That 104-octane boost car gets around Scott Young.
Boy, Darin Pittman, our leader, started 8th, so he's got a nice run going.
Jeff desperately needs that yellow, doesn't he? Now around Whitney. That should put him up into 9th. Matt Morrow now in front of him in 8th.
The leaders are a half a track ahead of him, however.
Yeah.
He needs the yellow. Morrow, the AC Delco number 2.
Well, right there, he's got his wing back. You can see the car taking a little bit of a push right there.
Whoa, Jeffy.
That's Pittman. And Swindell had big problems on the bottom.
You know what? The car looked like, I wonder if he's out of fuel, but the car stopped in that corner and then sputtered and took back off again.
I don't know, Brad, because he was running behind Morrow and one other car, and the 3 of them all came together at the bottom of the track there. We just missed seeing what happened.
Okay.
Well, maybe he got off the gas or what?
Yeah, maybe he just had to check up so much. He just had to check up so much.
He got off the gas. And that really killed him.
When we went back to him live, it looked like he was about to stop there, like there was a mechanical problem, but...
Well, if you get off the gas and jump back on it, as slick as the track is, it's really going to take you a while to get momentum.
Well, you really blow the tires loose. That's that discipline we talked about. Jeff, if he'd have stuck his foot in and just blow the tires loose, and then you can't catch up.
Be like blowing the hides off in a dragster, huh, Evans?
You got it.
White flag.
Last lap.
4 cars will transfer. Pittman, McMahon, Cram, and Matson. Swindell's 10th. Not going to make it. Here comes Darin Pittman to the checkered flag. He's going to the A-main. So is Paul McMahon in the Mopar. Travis Cram and Matson will go with him. Jeff Swindell unofficially takes the checkered in 9th. That's still pretty impressive.
Well, these guys get 2 provisionals a year, and I don't know if Jeff might have used up his two provisionals, so he might not get in.
He came back to win the C from dead last, comes from dead last to 9th in the B. Tough night for the 104-octane boost team, but they did a fantastic job of being as competitive as they possibly could be. Tip of the visor to them. We'll be back. Darin Pittman's going to the A.
If these windows could talk, they wouldn't tell you how Fleetwood craftsmen build each home by hand, but about favorite family dinners. And they might not mention our solid steel frames, but they'd tell you about pillow fights and pajamas. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. Call 1-800-350-2300 for a Fleetwood Homes retailer near you.
Yeah, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I got soul. I got soul. I like it like that. Yo, I see that ghetto. I like it like that. Hey, baby. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that. I like it like that.
Yes, Gus. It just tastes better.
The Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown. That's why we're at I-80 Speedway here in Greenwood, Nebraska. The results from the B main come up this way. Pittman was the winner. Paul McMahon in the Mopar comes home in second. He did a nice job. He got a great jump at the beginning of this thing. Cran and Madsen will all move on to the A main, and Jeff Swindell comes home in ninth. He's not going to make it. To Bobby Giro.
Darin Pittman, the winner of the B main. How much finesse do you have to have out there on that racetrack? It looks so slippery.
Well, it's fixing to change really, really fast. About the second or third laps, you start laying down rubber, and it's starting to lay it down pretty fast. So you're fixing to see the bottom get real, real fast, and it go from dry to almost be like running on asphalt.
What kind of changes, then, do you make to your race car?
We just got to unhook it. We were pretty good there, but we started getting tighter and tighter as the race went on. We just got to unhook the car, put some harder tires on it to make it last 30 laps, and hope for the best.
Sounds like a plan. Darin Pittman's going to be charging in the A main event.
Thanks, Bobby. You know, coming up next weekend on TNN, it's NHRA drag racing action. All the excitement of the Big Thunder with the NHRA. With tight points races going on in both the Top Fuel and Funny Car divisions, don't miss the Parts America Nationals. Coverage starts October 4th at noon Eastern. Then later, see the finals on a special edition of NHRA Today. 6 p.m. Eastern is when NHRA Today comes up. It's all right here on TNN Motorsports as we take the ground pounders to Topeka. Should see some big, big numbers from the very fast Topeka track. We'll be right back to Nebraska.
So you're building that deck with Time Life to help you along. You might want to add some built-in benches, page 50. How about a brick patio, guaranteed weed-proof, and a lot easier on your checkbook than some contractor would be.
Now with Home Repair, you get 2 books for $2. Order decks, porches, and patios for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Those new countertops sure look good, and doing it yourself probably saved a bundle. So you could do that built-in recycling bin she wanted. Step by step, Time Life makes it easy.
With Home Repair, you get professional results at do-it-yourself prices. Use your credit card to order decks for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Home Repair makes you a real hero around the house. So why don't you give them a call? They'd probably love to hear from you.
1-800-779-8484 to get 2 books for only $2. Use your credit card to order decks, porches, and patios, and you'll get kitchens free. Or send check or money order for $1.99 plus $3.95 shipping to the address on your screen.
It's the race you've waited for all season, and now it's on TNN. Don't miss racing history. Daytona goes under the lights in the Pepsi 400, October 17th at 8 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
I start every morning with ginseng.
I've taken garlic for years.
I remember my ginkgo biloba every day.
Only Ginkgo Gin combines ginseng, garlic, and ginkgo. Ginkgo Gin, the only supplement with all 3 in 1.
Next Friday on TNN Motor Madness. They're the most outrageous pulling vehicles in the world. You've got to see these supercharged chariots chew up the track. Jets, multi-engines, whatever it takes for a full pull. Plus, there's big rigs that really haul. Join Dusty and the Dream Team as the madness pulls into Wisconsin. Don't miss the Dairyland Super Nationals Tractor Pull next Friday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on TNN Motor Madness. It's life on the edge, pushed to the extreme. ASA Racing. The S stands for speed. See the North Carolina Sweet Potato 400 Saturday at 4 Eastern on TNN Motorsports.
Just over 1 month ago, one of motorsports' most dramatic moments played out for TNN's cameras when Danny Lasowski blasted past Sammy Swindell to win the Amoco Knoxville Nationals. The theater in the round that night posted both tragic and heroic performances from characters in the pits, on the track, and in the winner's circle. The two's life reached a turning point that night. We sat down with Danny earlier today to see how his life has changed since 11:09 p.m. on August 15th.
August 15th will be a day Danny Lasowski will never forget. No, it wasn't the day that he and his wife, Chris, were married, and it was not the day that his son, Landon, was born, but rather the first time in 14 tries, dude, you finally pulled off the big one, the Amoco Knoxville Nationals.
I tell you, it was, next to my son being born, it was probably the greatest day of my life. We celebrated more than I thought we would, and the race was really great. And everyone I've talked to said they totally enjoyed the race, and we couldn't be any happier.
You talk about celebrations. There were shirts being thrown out. People didn't have to pay for anything. It was your night, carte blanche.
Well, I think the louder the people got, the more my nephew Brian Brown threw T-shirts out, and I guess it was something that Knoxville hadn't seen in a while. And I'm glad everyone had a great time.
And it wasn't just Saturday night. Sunday morning, the Danny Lasowski Love Fest continued. You bought everybody breakfast over Mr. C's.
Yeah, absolutely. I said this may never happen again, so I want everyone to be treated breakfast on me. And out in front of our motorhome, it's still at 6:30 morning. We read the Des Moines paper 6:30 morning about the results from last night, and there were still probably 100 people out there. So we had a great time, and we'd sure like to live it again next year.
You picked up right away, had to move on down the road. Have you got a chance to soak it in much? And if so, how has that changed your life?
Well, it's absolutely changed a lot. We left immediately after the race on Sunday. We went to the West Coast and run Washington, Oregon, and California. And you have no idea how many race fans, sprint car race fans we have out there, because there's people that I see every racetrack come up and shake your hand that I've never seen in my life. And that impact on our team and myself is just immense.
Out in Santa Maria, you did pick up your third feature win this year, but it wasn't quite as sweet as the Knoxville Nationals.
Well, the first 38 laps was really good. We led 38, and Steve Kinser got by us. We got the white, we come down the backstretch, and he went to the bottom to block me, which he should have, and I made a lap that I hadn't made in 40. Got by him off the 4, and we had a little contact, and he got the wrong end of the deal, but it was totally racing, and he understood that at the time he was pretty upset, but I think he got to thinking about it. We were both going for the win, and sometimes that happens.
Well, the boys are back in Nebraska tonight, and one thing is for sure, there will be fans absolutely coming out of the woodworks to see this guy race tonight. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you much.
Amoco Knoxville Nationals winner, Danny Lasowski.
The car that Danny won Knoxville with, the Amoco Knoxville Nationals, is now going to be hanging from the ceiling of the new Beef Packers race shop that they're building out in Fresno, California. They actually raced the car through the California swing, and he did get the win with it at Santa Maria, so that's 2 wins for the car. The car never finished worse than 9th. It took a 9th at Chico and a 6th at Oregon. Those are the only 2 times that car ever finished out of the top 5, and then this is the first night with a brand new Eagle.
Well, I wondered when you said earlier that they retired the car and had so much success with it, I wondered why, and now I understand why.
Had to save it. It's a special car, Bobby Gerald.
Tyler Walker is the young man we're getting ready to talk to. He is set for this A main, and Tyler, night number 1 under the new regime of Ricky Warner and Barry Jackson seems to be going very well. You're going to be starting 3rd in tonight's feature. Are you excited?
Yeah, they got the Airstep car working real good. It's the best it's felt in a long time, and man, I'm just so excited. I'm all smiles tonight, and thanks to these guys, they give me a great race car, and hopefully go out there and do good and finish in the top 4. I want to win it, but at least finish in the top 4 and be able to get the start in the top 4 tomorrow if we're locked in.
They're working on your car right now, getting it prepared for the feature event. I understand you'll be using a 62 compound on the right rear. Now, that's the hardest you can go on the Goodyear.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of rubber out there, and it's tearing tires up in the B main, and so we just want to be safe and not have any flat tires, so hopefully it'll work good.
All right, good luck to you in tonight's feature event.
Thank you.
Now, the man that Tyler Walker's been chasing all season for the Manufacturer's Rookie of the Year title is standing by with Dave Reef. Dave?
And Bobby, he's got a really big fan in Mindy Stevens who's wanting him to stand on it a bit tonight. 157 points coming into tonight. Is it time you guys start thinking about this rookie chase?
Oh, I don't know. I guess if that's what you want to look at it. I was looking through the program today, and, heck, I'm older in Hillenberg, Smith, and Herrera, so to consider myself a rookie is hard for me to imagine. Tyler's 20 years old and just starting out in his sport, and he's a true rookie, but I guess we're battling, and it's been a pretty good fight.
So what are you telling me then? Do you think that kid should be the Rookie of the Year because you're too old?
Well, I don't know. I've run a lot more laps than that kid has, and he does a real good job, and is going to be one of the best guys out here in a couple years, and if not sooner. So I've enjoyed racing with him this year, and there's been a lot of times where I felt like a rookie this year racing with these guys, so I probably am.
Well, he missed that front row of the dash by just 1 spot. That means he will start tonight's A main, the 30-lapper, 9th.
Brad, what do you think about that tire choice?
Well, a lot of nights the racetrack, it's just a gimme. Everybody runs a 25C. That's just a standard feature tire. A night like tonight, they're guessing. Some will probably run a 40, some will run that 62, which is the hardest Goodyear, especially for a night race, that you'd ever run. So it'll be interesting to see who makes the right choices at the end of this one.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What's interesting here is if you look at the stats over the years, Steve Kinser is only 4th in money earned at $266,000. He is 5th in Pennzoil A feature wins, but he is 1st in preliminary feature wins like tonight. So he has really made a points harvest out of these Friday night, sometime Thursday night events.
You know, we talk a lot about how changing crew chiefs or drivers can help. Look what it did for Earnhardt and Mike Skinner. Well, that happened in the Outlaws with Tim Schaefer and Greg Haudenschild, as Bobby Gerald found out.
The newest member of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws series as a traveling driver is Tim Schaefer from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. It's a chance for us now to take the opportunity to get to know Tim a little bit better and find out about his background. And Tim, tell us about it. You know, how did you come up through the ranks to get to this point where you're at now? Where'd you start?
I started racing around western Pennsylvania there for about 10 years, and got on the road with the All-Stars for about 4 or 5 years, and run Central PA there at the beginning of this season, and it was going pretty good. And then got this offer. We're here with Dave Helm and Saint Michel and Byron, and we've been running pretty good, and we got a win there in Elma, and things were going pretty good there. And now we're kind of slowed up a little bit, and then we're trying to catch back up, but just trying to do the best we can right now.
One of the things that a lot of race fans, I'm sure, don't know about you is the fact that your mother owned your sprint cars and supported your racing career as you were coming up through the ranks. How involved was she? Was she just paying the bills, or was she actually out there turning wrenches for you?
Actually paying the bills and supporting me on the road, and we traveled together a lot and spent a lot of time on the road together. And, you know, and it wasn't too much mother and son deal anymore. It was a driver and owner deal. So things got pretty hectic at times, but we handled it pretty good, and you know, was pretty successful with running with the All-Stars, and just had a lot of fun.
Looking back, it certainly has helped your career, and you mentioned that you did get your first win. It came in preliminary action about a month ago at Elma, Washington. What was that night like?
Well, it was a great night for me. I mean, to be able to go out there and be on the road for like 4 weeks, and we won one already. But it was just a preliminary night, but we had about 4 or 5 races, pretty good races out here, and we're kind of slowed down right now, and we're just trying to get caught back up.
Have the guys been helpful out here on the road with you, the other drivers?
Yeah, well, actually getting to meet all the guys now, and I think on down the road it'll be helpful for me.
Tim Schaefer, he's going to definitely be a guy to keep an eye on, not only for the rest of this year, but many years to come. Good luck to you the rest of the way, Tim.
Hey, thank you.
You know, Brad, it made a big difference for Greg Haudenschild as well. I mean, he's been on an absolute tear in Pennsylvania.
What's really odd about this is they just switched cars.
Yeah.
They just, right, Greg Haudenschild, probably the hottest driver in the country right now, got out of the 11 car and wasn't looking too good. And Tim Schaefer gets in it, wins a couple races right off the bat, didn't make Greg look too good. Now Greg's turned it around and winning all kinds of races back east.
That old chemistry thing we've talked about before.
Yeah, you're right. We've used the word click. The team has to click, and they just weren't. And now they've changed rides, and it's working for them.
Well, you can see how heavy the wind is blowing. And one guy who's going to be battling it will be Steve Kinser. What does the King do when he's on the road with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws? How about it, Steve?
Well, it sort of depends whether the family's with me or whatever. If Dane and the kids are with me, we'll take in some sights and try to enjoy the country some. If they're not with me, usually I get on an airplane and head back home and then try to see them for a couple days. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough that Dana is able to travel with me quite a bit, and between my folks and her mom, which lives right next door to us, they can pretty well take care of the kids, and it works out pretty well, but you still like to spend a little more time with them if you could.
I'm a winner! I am the man!
As if changing your oil isn't exciting enough, you can now win big in Pennzoil's Under the Cap sweepstakes.
I'm a winner! I won!
Playing is easy.
I love you!
Next time you change your oil, just check Under the Cap to see if you won the $250,000 home grand prize, or one of 10,000 VersaPack power tools, or a $10,000 home workshop. Stop. Go, Pennzoil!
Team Mopar. Parts for sprint cars and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar. Team Mopar. Parts for NASCAR Super Truck and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
Succulent roasts, savory chops, tasty tenderloins. There's always a lot to like about the great taste of pork. And during the other white sale, there's one more thing that'll leave a good taste in your mouth. The leftovers. Pork. The other white sale.
Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by this special offer from Diamond D.
And they walked away 5. Spectacular racing action on asphalt, dirt, and water. You've heard about it, now own it. Non-stop excitement the entire family will enjoy. Jaws will drop and eyebrows will raise as you watch drivers walk away from white-knuckle crashes. NHRA, monster trucks, NASCAR, boats, and more. It's all here. Call 1-800-396-5444 and order your copy of And They Walked Away 5.
Had the opportunity to talk to Andy Hillenberg not too long ago, not the one from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, but the one from Indiana. He started his career off as a sprint car driver, then he switched to stock cars, and Andy was telling me at the recent IRL race, we might see old Indiana Andy back behind the wheel of a sprint car in the Pennzoil World of Outlaws real soon. He said he watched Lasowski win at Knoxville, and he said, heck, if Duke can win, I know I can. It was enough to get him back behind the seat, Bobby Jarrell.
Well, I tell you what, Indiana Andy is going to have to do a lot of racing to catch up to the streak of Oklahoma Andy, who will now saddle up for your 450th straight. Amen, and I'm so glad I didn't jinx you there before that heat race. You made it in safely. What does this streak mean to you?
I don't know. That's a lot of races. Tells me what I've been doing the last few years, I guess.
a whole lot of racing. This racetrack tonight, we've talked with the Goodyear tire guys. You're a McCreary tire guy. Where are you on the compound scale tonight on your right rear?
Well, we're gonna go with an MD50. It's a little softer than a 62 Goodyear, but a little harder than a 40. So I think we'll be all right. It's going to be around the bottom. The track's got rubber all the way down around the poles, so it's going to be tough to pass tonight. So it ought to be a pretty good race. Just going to be hard to pass.
And Dave, Andy says that he is gambling a little bit with that tire selection.
Well, Stevie Smith's black Bandit number 19 has a 62 on, but tonight it should be called the Brown Bandit. Why? D-U-S-T, dust. It's blowing around everywhere. The Midwest wind is absolutely howling. And, Stevie, that could definitely have an effect on what happens in this 30-lap race.
Oh, definitely. It's drying the track, so it's starting to take a little bit of rubber. So we went with some hard tires. I just hope they're right.
You guys swept this deal back earlier this year. This is the third time here. Can you come all the way from 5th on a racetrack like this and do it again?
Well, I think we can if the car's going good and I do make the right moves. I didn't feel too good in the trophy dash, so we're making some changes, and hopefully they'll be in the right direction.
What is that 62 going to do for you? Is it going to take a while before we see that thing actually start to warm up and work right?
Well, most likely, but I hope it doesn't take too long. The race will be over.
30 laps is all it's going to take. Stevie Smith will be starting 5th.
Well, the racing season is coming to a close, and that means, of course, lots of breaking news from the world of motorsports. Get all the up-to-the-minute highlights, interviews, and more. Where else but right on race day? It's coming your way Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. Well, the wind is definitely picking up and starting to move our booth, but when we come back, the A main is going to be rolling off, wind or not, with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws.
The Honda ATVs. The desert can't beat them. The jungle can't beat them. Mountains, rocks, water, even a fall from 1,000 feet can't beat them. And if you thought these Hondas were tough to beat before, now they come with no down payment and 9.8% APR financing, but only until December 31st. Tough to beat deals from your Honda dealer. Honda ATVs, best on earth.
Everyone gets fresh flowers for an anniversary or prom date, but fresh flowers lack a lifetime guarantee. I take small True Value buckets and, with the help of my wife Punky, just a what if. Put various master mechanic tools in them to form an elegant and useful floral motif my handier customers really appreciate. It's beautiful.
Donald Keatley drove a truck. Then he hurt his back. It was the longest 2 years of his life. Do you know how hard it is to ask your in-laws for money? So he called the money store. We paid his first mortgage, his second mortgage, and gave him the money to pay back his in-laws. Today, he's back at work. He's getting his credit back on track. He's saving money every month. And his pride, that was the first thing he got back.
The Money Store. 1-800-LOAN-YES.
So, what are we going to do today, Matt?
Shave it off. All of it. Just...
Okay.
It's just this dandruff. It goes away, comes back, goes away, comes back.
Well, we can take care of that.
Head and Shoulders?
With regular shampoo, flakes can keep coming back. But Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes before they start. You may never see flakes again.
And your hair looks great.
Glad I didn't do something stupid like shave my head.
Head & Shoulders changes dandruff problems into beautiful hair.
October 4th on TNN Motorsports. The fight for the NHRA Swindell Championship continues at the track known for speed, Heartland Park, Topeka. It's a full day of drag racing action from the Parks America Nationals. Coverage starts October 4th at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Then later on a special edition of NHRA Today, it's final round action at 6 Eastern. So make it a day with NHRA on TNN Motorsports.
Well, the wind has dramatically picked up here at I-80 Speedway. The Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown getting pushed off the A main cars, rolling out onto the Speedway here at I-80. Fans of the grandstands having a big time. They've had bands playing here all night. 2 bands going on all night long. Little carnival going on. It's been a good time here. Ralph Shaheen along with Brad Doty, Steve Evans, and Bobby Gerald and Dave Reef covering the action for you. And let's check in with Bobby Gerald.
All right, Ralph, let's give you the final word here on tires. Here's what you need to know. Tyler Walker and Stevie Smith, as interviewed, going with the 62. That's the hardest Goodyear on the right rear tire. Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell, the 2 combatants for the championship, both going with the 40 compound on the right rear and the left rear. Jac Haudenschild, the winner of the dash, has a 40 on the right rear, but he's got an even softer tire on the left rear, the 25C. I'm sure Brad can sort some of that out. Dave Reef.
Bobby, I'm down with Guy Forbrook. We've been talking to Steve Kinser all night long about how they're trying to get the Quaker State car just a little bit better, After the dash, you guys weren't that far off, so you've made a few more minor modifications. What are they?
Well, we changed a little bit of weight and changed a couple of rear tires and a shock. I mean, you can't get too carried away now because about 15 laps into this, she's going to lay rubber and it's going to get tight, and it's going to be right around the bottom, and whoever gets out of line is going to get past.
Is that why you guys went ahead and went with that 40 compound right rear?
Well, I don't know. We wanted the 62, too, and we've been sitting here debating, and everybody else kind of put 40s on, and so we kind of went with everybody else went on because I was afraid if we put a 62 on, it'd be too hard and wouldn't take off right away, and if you lose any positions on the start, it's going to be hard to get them back.
According to Guy Forbrook, the place to keep your eye on is the bottom of the racetrack. That should be where it's going to take rubber first.
In 1995, Guy Forbrook came here with his own car, the 5 car, with Johnny Herrera as the driver. They had 10 open shows here. They swept all 10. Guy Forbrook knows how to set up a car for this track.
They could be pretty funny down there on pit row as Dave Reef and company are, because the guys' spies are going from different teams over here and trying to see the tires, and sometimes they'll put on a tire, the spies, when they take it off, put another one on.
You're absolutely right.
Here's your grid, everyone. For the A main, Jac Haudenschild, Steve Kinser in row 1, Tyler Walker and Daniel Lisowski in row number 2, Stevie Smith and Sammy Swindell, who's fighting for that championship, in row 3, Mark Kinser and Don Drought in row number 4. Dale Blaney in the Amoco car, along with the Polydome back entry of Craig Delansky in row 5, Andy Hillenberg and the Mopar of Paul McMahon in row 6. Leonard Lee was involved in an incident early on tonight, and Skip Jackson in row 7. Donnie Schatz, who got his first win earlier this year, and Terry McCarl in row 8. Lance Blevins and Jamie Moyle, Johnny Herrera and Travis Cram, Joe Gertie and Kerry Matson, Greg Hodnett and Darin Pittman in row 12.
Now that's
Greg Hodnett.
That's
not even here.
Tim Schaefer in the 11.
Tim Schaefer. I know, I read that off and was going.
You know, the front rows both have the 40 compound. Now, a guy can run a softer tire like Haudenschild starting up front. If he can get the lead and the lap traffic moves out of his way where he doesn't have to slide the car a lot, he can make the 40 work. But the guys in traffic where you're sliding the car a lot need a harder tire.
And Haudenschild is having fun. He's so relaxed. He can't win the championship. He can move up into the top 5 possibly with a good rest of the season. But he has won far more money than anybody else at $336,000. He has won 10 A features. I don't know how many preliminaries, and we keep track of that. But, I mean, he's the spoiler, and he's enjoying the role.
Well, and I've teased him. I've changed the name to the Mild Child. Nothing, you know, he doesn't get excited about anything. Never has his whole life. But he's just racing and having fun. So if he can get out and win this thing, he'll even have more fun.
Well, the familiar 4 wide salute to the fans, and there are some great fans here at I-80 Speedway on this preliminary night of the Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown at I-80 Speedway. It's been a lot of fun to bring the TNN cameras to I-80 for the first time live. We're coming back here next year as well. We sure hope you've enjoyed it. Listen to the big cheer the Pennzoil World of Outlaws will get from these great Nebraska fans as they come up along the front straightaway.
There isn't a soul sitting down in this grandstand. Not a soul. There's nobody in the booth sitting down either, I might add.
That's just such a great sight to see these guys, you know, lined up like that, and the fans just love it.
Remember what I said at the very top of the show. Steve Kinser and Sammy Swindell won consistent finishes. Steve even said later on in the show, top threes. Can't get too carried away as he did at Santa Maria 2 weeks ago. Knock himself out with the DMF. If Haudenschild has got the strong machine, they might just let him go.
You're right. He's not going to do anything. He's, you know, because of what happened at Santa Maria, that's a reminder of what can happen.
Here's George Lisowski, Danny's dad, and his nephew Brown, just to the right. The guy that was tossing out all the free T-shirts in Knoxville.
Or the bottom line there.
Yeah. Stevie Smith picked up a new sponsor since the last time we saw him. He's got GES Exposition Services. They're going to be running with him for the rest of the season.
An associate.
Yep, on that Ingersoll Rand car.
You know, Tyler Walker's dad told me that if they don't get a sponsor for next year on the 35 car, they don't know if they can afford to run the full series again. You know,
tough,
Haudенschild's not sure about his sponsor, so there's some guys that could be in trouble for next year.
I think next year in a lot of motorsports is going to be kind of transitionary, so we say. You know who I really like, who's going to, he has absolutely nothing to lose, is Mark Kinser. He's 4th in points. Go for it.
And Carl's back, and when Carl comes back from the shop, you never know what he's brought with him.
That's exactly right.
Here we go, 30 laps.
Well, you saw it right there. Jac Haudenschild got a jump. Steve just let him go and tucked in and got on the bottom right behind him.
Sammy goes way upstairs. Danny Lisowski's in 3rd, right behind Steve Kinser.
And a whole lot of drivers in this field saying right now, let the track come to you. Let the track come to you about 15 laps.
On board with the dude in the Beef Packers car as they go down the front straightaway. We got a problem in turn 4. 1 car around.
It's Don Drought, Steve. And Ralph spun around up there coming out of turn 4. Boy, Mark Kinser's got his wing up in the air and back already.
Now, the drivers can hydraulically change that from inside the car. There's Drought.
Yeah, they can move the wing back, forward, back, and they can't raise it or anything, but the angle of the rear struts to hold the back of the wing up are on an angle, so when they move it back, it goes up as well.
Explain to the folks at home what putting it down forward as opposed to backward does the handling of the car.
Okay, it's all the wing is an upside down airplane wing. Instead of lifting the airplane up, this pulls the race car down. If it's further forward on the race car, it plants the front of the race car. If they're spinning, you move it back. It just helps plant the rear tires harder.
On board with Danny Lisowski as you watch Drought from behind. There's Delansky on the bottom.
Oh, he bumped.
Oh. Actually, that's from Stevie Smith's car. We have a second onboard camera in here. And he just tapped the back of it. Don Droud's got the car turned around. He'll push him back off. He'll try to rejoin. We'll be right back.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Huh?
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Yeah, man. Chunky sirloin burger with loads of vegetables and lots of beefy sirloin burgers grilled to perfection.
Neil, did you eat your chunky soup?
Why do you keep saying that? Mama.
Gotta make sure you eat good.
Campbell's Chunky Sirloin Burger. It's loaded with beef.
Well, we build marine winches here and marine deck equipment. My boots, they're very important. I got to walk around all day in them. They better be comfortable and they better be right. These are my feet.
You have to have the equipment to match the environment. Bottom line.
Wolverine DuraShocks, the world's most comfortable boots, guaranteed.
We're not talking about a new kid on the block here. Wolverine's been around a long time.
I got enough hard work to do here in a day that I don't need my feet hurt.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur. Available by prescription only.
Pennzoil World of Outlaws are back live on TNN. That's Daniel Lasowski looking up to the front of Steve Kinser. Now there's Craig Delansky in the red number 7. That's a brand new race car. Delansky is going to drive this car for the rest of this year and hopefully off next year under his own budget. But he's got Rod Favor here as his crew chief. Now Rod comes from Washington, but he owns his own sprint car, which is racing back in Washington tonight at Elma. Driver, Steve Beitler.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, good to know that Steve's back in action again out there.
He was a favorite on our Old American Sports Cavalcade broadcast of the Outlaws.
Bobby Gerald.
There's a modest streak underway right now with the World of Outlaws, and that's Stevie Smith, who, if he can finish in the top 10 tonight, will make it 10 straight races in the top 10. And we touched on it earlier. He swept both nights of the racing action here on April 30th, the prelim night, and then on April 1st was able to pick up the big night win. So Stevie Smith, despite the fact that he is third in points right now, really still isn't out of it, only 105 behind the leaders. And if as you talked about, there was a DNF for one of those two guys up front, Stevie Smith could really be ready to pounce.
Now, Steve Smith Sr., who built this chassis, the Smith chassis, built 5 for 1998. Stevie is running chassis number 4 tonight. They're going to build 6 for 1999. I asked Stevie what they're going to do with all the old chassis, if they sell them off. He said, no, we're just going to tear them apart, scrap them. We won't sell any to anybody.
Don't want anybody to see their design.
That's right. We'll be right back after this.
In NASCAR, recycling scrap metal is a job description.
Here you go, buddy. Man, these NASCAR rules are tough.
And you can do your part, too.
Rusty's found his true calling.
As Miller Lite presents TNN Motorsports, take home a piece of the action sweepstakes.
Man, these Freddie parts make great planners.
Watch the MBNA Gold 400 Sunday, September 20th. On a postcard, write down who's leading at the end of the 50th lap. Send it in by October 3rd, and you can win a trip to the Duralube 500 or the AC Delco 400.
I hope they spell the name right. You thinking the matter?
Plus a piece of a car from one of these guys.
Hey, I hear Wallace scrap pays top dollar.
You'll meet one of the drivers, get a tour of pit row, and see the race in the TNN Luxury Suite.
You gotta watch TNN to win.
Then you'll be qualified for one of 2 grand prizes, a Kawasaki Prairie all-terrain vehicle or a day at the Richard Petty Driving School and this one-of-a-kind 98 Pontiac Grand Prix.
Hey, maybe you should enter, Ricky. Are you old enough to drive yet?
Brought to you by Outback Steakhouse, Kawasaki, and Serengeti Eyewear.
Take home a piece of the action today.
It's the race you've waited for all season, and now it's on TNN. Don't miss racing history. Daytona goes under the lights in the Pepsi 400, October 17th at 8 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
It's coming. More terror than you've ever felt before. Dare you let it in your library. Stephen King's newest blockbuster, Bag of Bones. This chilling tale from your favorite storyteller is yours now for just $7.95 when you try the Stephen King Library. Get King's classics, plus his newest books as soon as they're published, all in original hardcover editions, all at just $14.95 each, all with a cancel anytime guarantee. You can even tell us which books to send. Call now and Bag of Bones is yours free for 10 days. If you're not terrified, return it and cancel. Otherwise, we'll send you a new book every 6 weeks, each with a 10-day free trial. There's never an obligation to buy. Call for your free trial of Bag of Bones now.
Call 1-800-979-8448 to get Bag of Bones. Keep it for $7.95 plus shipping. Future volumes will follow every 7 weeks, each with a 10-day free trial. Keep only the ones you want. Cancel anytime. Call 1-800-979-8448.
They're going down the back straightaway, getting ready to take the green as they come off of turn 4. Jac Haudenschild will lead Steve Kinser, Daniel Lasowski to the line. Tyler Walker's 4th. We're green.
This is the second lap of the 30-lap A feature.
Dale Blaney goes way upstairs. Daniel Lasowski right behind Steve Kinser. That's the fight for second. Both of of them stuck to the bottom, following Jac Haudenschild, who's got the Pennzoil car working great on the bottom. Dean Bonsai Brunton's doing a great job setting up the car for Haud.
And Tyler Alexander, the 35 car, also went way high through 1 and 2, and it was really not very productive for him.
Sammy Swindell right behind Tyler Walker as they go down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Sammy tried to top. He had to do something. Look at this. Johnny Herrera trying to middle.
Herrera's in 14th, racing with Skip Jackson in that red 55.
You can see Sammy there in the back of the picture right up against that wall again out of turn 2.
There's Haud out in front of Kinser. Nothing changes there.
Now, if I was on the radio with Haudenschild tonight, I would tell him where he's at and just to not blow his tires loose. He's got it, especially that 40. He's got to run the car as straight as he can and try to save that tire.
Look at Dale Blaney way upstairs. Kenny Woodruff, the crew chief on that car. Boy, if somebody's going to set up your machine, Kenny Woodruff is one you definitely want to have. Walker holds off. Sammy Swindell, Dale Blaney right behind him. That's a fight for fourth.
It'll be interesting to see as the race goes on. Sammy's got that 40. Tyler Walker has that 60 right rear tires. Walker's is a little harder. If anything, Walker should get faster, and Sammy, will probably slow down once that tire gets hot.
Interesting concept there, an interesting contradiction. Really, Tyler Walker just 20 and Sammy Swindell 40-something.
Look at Steve closing in a little bit, going down into the corner. Is that Skip Jackson in front of them on the bottom there that's pulling in? Yes, Skip Jackson off the racetrack. Everybody right down, running around the poles.
Yep, just like they predicted. You heard all the drivers say that. They thought that's what's going to happen. And the longer they all run down there, the more rubber gets down there, and the faster it's going to get, and the more they're committed down there. I mean, they're going to have to stay down there. If somebody moves up in the middle and gets out of that rubber, they're going to be in trouble.
Traffic is now about to come into play.
And with Jac Haudenschild leading it, Tim Schaefer right in front of him, and Schaefer's been running the bottom.
So that's what gets tough, because everybody's on the bottom, including the slower traffic. So to get around them, what do you do?
Well, Sammy Swindell can make no progress on the youngster right in front of him. There's Haud.
We're going to see what you have to. Right there, he says, what did not quite enough.
Oh, and Schaefer goes up over. Was that Stevie Smith? No.
Well, I think he hit the berm. Look at this. Jac had to get slowed up, and Steve Kinser
upstairs.
Now, look how much Steve lost, though, up there just spinning his tires. Now Jac gets by the 11. Oh, and the car's...
Oh, Johnny Herrera spins in the middle of the racetrack, and the yellow comes out.
That was a great move for Jac Haudenschild, because the car right in front of him, Jac checked up and turned right, and at the last minute he saw Johnny Herrera and was able to avoid it.
I believe that black car was the 8L of Kerry Matson that they were trying to deal with, Steve.
And this is a real pretty looking yellow flag to Sammy Swindell, who's second in the points. He's got Steve in front of him, was making no ground at all. This is a yellow that he possibly can work to his advantage.
And it also takes away all the traffic, doesn't it? They'll back everybody around. We'll be back to Greenwood at I-80 Speedway after this.
If these windows could talk, they wouldn't tell you how Fleetwood craftsmen build each home by hand, but about favorite family dinners. And they might not mention our solid steel frames, but they'd tell you about pillow fights and pajamas. Because at Fleetwood, we know the quality that counts most in a home is the quality of life inside. Fleetwood Homes, quality for life. Call 1-800-350-2300 for a Fleetwood Homes retailer near you.
Mud holes, dirt roads. Most people wouldn't think of driving through stuff like that. But then that's the beauty of Subaru all-wheel drive. It automatically transfers power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip, which means it does the thinking for you.
Sorry, mate. Guess I wasn't thinking.
Hey there. Now, I got something here that's downright fun. My new popcorn chicken. Crunchy morsels of tender white meat. Hurry down to KFC, try my new popcorn chicken for $1.99. At KFC, we do chicken right. Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast. Unleash the beast, Milwaukee's best.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and look natural? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
rush in, and in 5 minutes, Gray is gone.
No one can tell, just from man gel.
When you buy a set of split-fire spark plugs, you get the same technology that ignites Jim Yates, NHRA Winston Pro Stock champion, with quarter-mile in under 7 seconds. The legendary split-fire Performance V spark plug, because performance is everything. Parachute sold separately.
What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
Louis Kent, I'll fillet him.
Try Crab Delights tonight.
But I was King Crab.
20 of the scheduled 30 laps are completed here at I-80 Speedway with Jac Haudenschild leading Steve Kinser, Daniel Sosky, Tyler Walker, and Sammy Swindell, your top 5. Here's a replay of why we are under yellow.
Right there, Johnny Herrera just loses it. Gets turned around. Luckily, nobody tagged him there. You could see him almost, he stayed on the throttle and tried to keep it going, but that car on the outside, he had to get out of the throttle.
Actually, there's only 10 laps down and 20 to go as we restart the A feature.
With Herrera going to the tail. This was definitely a benefit for Jac Haudenschild, getting that traffic out and away from in front of him where he could run his line and just roll around that bottom and save that right rear tire.
And getting all that traffic out of there is a big help, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, because like I said, he can just cool it now and run the car as straight as possible, ease on that throttle off the corners, try to save that tire.
There goes the top 5. Mark Kinser is up to 6th. Ladies in 7th.
Coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, Schaefer gets together with one other car, and the yellow is out.
8L?
That's the 8L, the same car that was involved earlier, Kerry Madsen.
Boy, Haudenschild is sitting up there right now thinking, what? I mean, come on, you guys. Can't we run a lap or two here? He just wants to get this thing over with.
That yellow he didn't need.
No, that one he did not need.
Here's the replay. They're at the very back of the line. Get together.
Tim Schaefer in the yellow car there. Little contact, but he was able to keep going.
That's the camera we call Speedy. Works very, very cheap.
Don't forget, TNN Motorsports will be at the season finale in Las Vegas. You'll see all the action from there as we crown the champion. Dave Reef.
Earlier we saw Skip Jackson pull in off of the racetrack. Terry McCall had to come in as well, and let me take a guess. That motor, huh?
Well, it's just we've been fighting it. We got Bob Westfall here tonight. He'll have her dialed in by tomorrow. Tough track conditions. We're starting at the back, and we just decided to pull in and save it for tonight and try to get it better for tomorrow.
Exactly. Not broken, but just saving parts.
No, it's just our fault. We're off on the fuel somewhere. Bob will get it fixed, and we'll be a lot faster tomorrow, I'm sure.
Well, those 12 wins that came at Houston Speedway, that's a 3/8 mile track at Knoxville. Unbelievably, this guy did not win a race. That's how much trouble they've been having with the half-mile motor program.
Darin Pittman needed a push as well here on the front straightaway. This racetrack, the only time they see the 410 sprint cars is when the Outlaws come through. Runs a lot of late models out here, and the IMCA series comes through. There's Pittman getting pushed off.
Yeah, that 410 you're talking, that's a 410 cubic inch limit that the World of Outlaws and the All-Stars and some of them run, but there's a lot of 360 cubic inch limit series all over the country. Kind of a stepping stone for those guys to go to something like the World of Outlaws.
Well, coming up in a couple of weeks, Pep Boys Indy Racing League will be back in action right here on TNN Motorsports. Kenny Brack will be going after the MCI Pep Boys Million and the IRL Championship. What a day it could be for him. Should be exciting. Make sure you don't miss it. The Las Vegas 500 live October 10th at 4 p.m. A part of Bright Lights and Big Cities Week right here on TNN. For Green.
Sammy Swindell really pushing Tyler Walker. Pushing him for that 4th spot.
Literally pushing him. He got real loose there and went down and bumped Tyler's right rear, which wouldn't have done anything but hurt Sammy.
Sammy was very careful to not get a tire under him before he got to that orange cone, but once he get it, man, he put everything he could on him. But you know what? It didn't work.
See Steve Kinser doing wheelies right there. He's getting tired. You heard some of the guys at racetracks getting rubber down. The track's getting stickier.
Mark Kinser in the working 5M right behind the channel lock 1. Oh, we got a problem over in turn 2. Donnie Schatz is around. And the yellow is out again.
Part of this problem, Ralph, there's this one groove that they got to run on, and they're all just getting a little impatient this late in the race and trying to make something happen, trying to maybe move a guy out of the groove or give him enough of a tap to slide him up, and then you can get under and make the pass. And that could be part of the reason we're seeing all these yellows.
We got 2 around right now.
Yeah, we got Stevie Smith up in turn 4.
That could be because of everybody getting on the brakes after the situation with shots, you think?
Well, I don't know. It's a half a lap later. It's at the other end of the racetrack.
Well, we'll be right back to I-80 Speedway to get it all straightened out, get Stevie and Donnie turned around and pushed off. Hope you can stay with us. The Cornhusker Outlaw Showdown.
Dogs have an uncanny sense of hearing, but they can't tell you if running, climbing, or even walking hurts or makes them stiff. So it's up to you. To help keep your dog active and healthy, ask your veterinarian how Rimadyl has relieved arthritis pain for more than 500,000 dogs. As with other pain relievers in this class, digestive and liver side effects may occur. Available by prescription only.
Okay, lose the broom and the vacuum. This is very new Pledge Wood Floor Cleaning Spray for light cleaning between moppings. A simple spray, and the only thing you'll leave behind is a beautifully clean wood floor. Pledge Wood Floor Cleaning Spray. Beautifully clean wood floors between moppings. S.C. Johnson Wax.
When you use Lever 2000, you'll always feel like being close, because Lever 2000 is a tough deodorant clean, so you want to get close. But we also have moisturizers for your skin, so you want to stay close. Lever 2000, the touchable clean for all your 2000 parts.
Clean is my business. So when I'm on the road, Super 8's my motel.
Clean carpets, clean seats, clean.
Clean inside and out. Life's great at Super 8.
What are you looking at?
Oh, Kurt's still steamed over crab delights. See, no one wants him when they can have real seafood with the great taste of crab and none of the work.
Louis Kent, I'll fillet him.
Try Crab Delights tonight.
But I was King Crab.
Stevie Smith in the Ingersoll Rand number 19 was a part of the last caution. He brought it down into the pit area. There's crew chief Devin DeLucio changing the right rear. So Brad, he'll have to go to the back, won't he?
Yeah, which he had to because of the spin anyway. Right. Maybe, the tire looked like it still had air in it. So maybe they just figured it's a good opportunity to bring him in and change that tire.
They've only got 18 laps to go of the scheduled 30. So maybe they figure a softer tire can survive for 18 laps.
Interesting to see what they chose to do there. If they went harder or softer.
What'd they do, Bobby?
They went softer. They went to a 40. Stevie actually lost it when he half spun. Just got up in the high step trying to test out the high groove, and he looped the car under the yellow. He said, hey, I'm going to be at the back anyway, so I may as well bring it in. Pulled the 62 off. They went to the softer 40 compound, and now Stevie ought to be on par with the rest of the competition. As we're saying this, the 1BK of Don Trout has just come into the pit area to change a tire as well.
Brad, this racetrack's slicking up one groove, all because of the wind and the hot heat we had.
Yeah, we've had bright sunshine all day, and with wind like this, any dirt track's going to get slick like this.
Back to green. Haudenschild, Steve Kinser, Daniel Lasowski, Tyler Walker, Sammy Swindell, your top 5. Mark Kinser, Blaney, Delansky, Hillenberg, and Schatz, the top 10.
It can get frustrating.
Actually, Schatz goes,
oh,
Sammy.
Sammy's left rear came off.
And Mark Kinser involved.
What a great job. What a great job by Mark Kinser. Sammy runs over his own tire.
You know what, Brad? We talked about the championship chase and how you can't afford to lose any. This is really going to be a crushing blow to him.
But another left rear. I mean, this is really
weird.
Really
three
weird.
of those we've seen tonight.
Boy, but Sammy runs over his own tire, which didn't hurt anything at this point. But that tire bounced around Dale, just missed Dale Blaney. Boy, I mean, that thing hits your wing, you're done.
Well, you know, all the dust-ups that Sammy and Mark Kinser have had this season, a little bit last year, he owes one to Mark a little bit there.
Boy, Mark was lucky he kept the motor going.
Let's take a look at this on the replay.
Okay, right there, we're just talking about Mark kind of closing in on Sammy.
That's Tyler Walker in front of Sammy.
Okay, right there, you can see the tire's loose right there. Look at it coming off right there. And Mark...
There's nothing he could do.
Nope. Boy, luck of the draw. I mean, he just rode up over. And now watch, stay along right there. Watch this left rear. Dale Blaney just misses it.
Now they're going to work on the car. Sammy sits frustrated, waiting to Dave Reed.
Well, obviously, Sammy's very distraught. That tire just came off. They're able to put a new one on, get this thing tightened up. It's like you said, this is very, very crucial when you're talking about running for a championship. Sammy's guarantee, it's going to be pretty tough. Now, fortunately, it is a qualifying night, so he's not going to lose a great deal of points, but this will definitely hurt him.
Brad, they're having a hard time getting that on.
Well, what that did when that left rear dug in, it's threads, and they're probably full of mud and everything else, and maybe even it's aluminum axle, soft, so that might have actually messed the threads up to where they can't...
Stripped them almost?
Well, yeah, it just ground them smooth.
Yeah.
But, you know, these are beadlock wheels, right? I mean, the tires literally clamped to the wheel with screws all the way around. It's tough to get one of those off.
Well, that has nothing to do with the nut, though, that they're putting on now.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I mean the tire coming off the wheel.
Well, the whole wheel and all came off.
Did it?
Yeah, the whole wheel and all came right off the car. And that's what happened to Lee. I believe it was the 12L earlier. Same thing. The left rear just came off. Now, a lot of guys will run a clip pin. They drill a hole in the end of the axle, they put the nut on, and they put a little clip pin in it.
As a secondary
the nut
safety
can't come all the way off.
Yeah. Okay, Bobby, what do you got?
Well, Mark Kinser also getting a piece of the action there. Crew member Jamie Adrian's down here. Mark was motioning something to you as he went by going into turn one. What was he trying to tell you?
He was just trying to get us to look to see if the car was okay, if the front end was still underneath and everything was still bolted on, and it looks good.
It looks good as far as you can tell.
Yeah, as far as we can tell, and he said the steering's okay, so we're okay.
All right, no damage for Mark Kinser. Mark Kinser is one of those teams that does not utilize the radios. You can if you want to under World of Outlaws rules. Mark and Carl Kinser, his team, choose not to.
It's always a little unnerving as a driver to go through something like that, go back to green, because you're not sure if something's cracked or split, something's going to break as you go into that next corner.
Sammy Swindell out of the pits. New left rear on the car, trying to catch up. He'll be dead last, but it's better than a DNF.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We've got 18 laps to go. Sammy can make up a handful of spots here very easily.
But Sammy's going to be way back as they get to green here. He's a half a lap behind the field.
That hurt. Down the back straightaway. And another one in turn two.
Tim Schaefer. You know, sometimes a racetrack, they use what they call a sheep's foot that puts little divots in the racetrack. And there might be such a thing as they're getting a lot of vibrations off the racetrack and vibrations through the car that might be working these wheels loose.
He did a lot more than just spin.
Yeah.
Look at the damage to the left front.
Yeah, the axles flopped over center, tore the radius rods and things up.
And before a car leaves their pit space, almost always, the last thing the crew does is go around and make sure those wheel nuts, those big lug nuts, are tight. That's the last thing they do.
Yep.
Put one more little cinch on them.
Maybe he just went over the inside berm, you think?
He could have just clipped the inside berm, but with the axle looking like that, there's a set of radius rods that hold it center and straighten the car, and it flipped it over center.
This one they won't be able to fix real fast.
Well, if it just got the radius rods and didn't actually bend the axle, they've got all those radius rods preset to length. They can just, especially under red like this, they can bolt them back on.
Well, one of the reasons for the red, I'm sure, is going to be fuel.
Now, you might have noticed Haudenschild, the tail tank's all black on his car. No paint, no lettering. That's because it's their bigger fuel tank for a longer, bigger racetrack.
There's Kenny Woodruff fueling up Dale Blaney.
And these cars use a tremendous volume of fuel, far more than they did even a few years ago. The pumps are just much higher speed. They've got a lot of the fuel going directly into the heads as opposed to down through the fuel injectors. They really burn up some ethanol.
Well, with the horsepower they're putting out, you're absolutely right, Steve. The more horsepower you make, the more fuel you need. And they're making a tremendous amount of horsepower.
Well, let's find out how Sammy Swindell's car is, Dave Reef.
Well, Sammy Swindell, when that wheel came off, that was a disappointing blow. Did it just come off basically like that?
Well, I don't know. They thought that either we lost the spacer or the center and the wheel stripped, one or the other. Never had that problem before, so bad time tonight for the whole Channel Lock team. With a racetrack like this, it's going to be awful hard to pass.
Fortunately, though, a single night of points. Bobby Gerald?
Well, we're here with Steve Kinser, and that could be a bad break for Sammy Swindell, could be a good break for Steve Kinser as far as the championship is concerned. But, Steve, how tricky is this racetrack right now? Guys are having all kinds of problems slipping around.
You just got to be real conservative and run around the bottoms, all you can do.
How is your tire where the guys had a chance to look at it? Is there anything you're concerned about at this point, or is it just kind of a wait?
Basically, it's the tire wear and stuff, and see where we're at.
You got anything for Haudenschild?
I'm not even going to try.
Steve Kinser playing it safe, thinking about a lot of money at the end of the year, guys.
That's a guy racing point.
That proves it right there, how much this point means. But notice the dirt all around the drivers' faces. They're getting a lot of dust and dirt up under their shields.
Gear change?
Right there. Now watch this. We can stay with this long enough. They pull this cover off. There's 2 gears in there. Okay, they put it back on. Right there, that they pull that cover off, it fills the grease. Right there, the gears laying on the ground. They change those 2 gears, and it can change the RPMs of the engine.
Now, you're really good if you can tell us if they went to a higher or lower gear by looking at those 2 gears on the ground, Dodie. Come on.
Well, you can't. You absolutely can't. There's no way you can tell by looking at the gears, but I'm just guessing. I would say that they're probably going to lower gears since the bottom of the racetrack. You know, it's short around the racetrack, and there is no penalty for doing it. You can do anything you want but change the tires.
This would be what is called a quick change rear end.
And that's the reason, how quick it is.
Speaking of quick, Dave Reef.
I'm down with Glenn Stewart, who's filling up the oil to put back in there. What you guys do, go to a taller gear or a lower gear?
A lower gear.
And what will that do for Sammy's car?
It'll just make it drive off the corner better than the rubber.
And that's the word down here, a lower gear for Sammy Swindell.
Hey, Dodie, for a guy that drove 2 Pintos in his day, that's a pretty good guess.
Well, starting back there where he's at and running around the bottom like that, he's got to get through traffic. He's got to have a low gear to keep the RPMs up.
We're going to come right back to I-80 Speedway. We've got 12 laps down, 18 still to go here in the Cornhusker Outlaw Shootout.
The summer. Live Maine lobster, specially priced at $14.99. A warm reminder that at Red Lobster, the season isn't over.
I feel a presence. Harold, is that you?
You know, it'd be a little bit hard to get through lap cars, so we're not taking no chances. We're just going to try and run the top 4 tonight. Well, as Steve Kinser said, you have to have finesse. You have to really take it easy. And even the leader of the race, Jac Haudenschild, even though he's not thinking about a championship, Ralph and Brad, he is thinking about tomorrow night's final night here at I-80 Speedway. Just wants to finish in the top 4.
Steve's got 2 guys around him that don't care necessarily about just a championship, because Lasowski's got to get as far up as he can to get as many points as he can, sitting in 5th. So he can't just cruise to a 3rd. He's got to try to get 2nd or 1st. And, of course, Haudenschild up front, he's going to try to pull away and take that win.
Yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised to hear Steve, say that. I almost bet you if he gets up there and there's opportunity, he'll forget about those points and go for the win. But he's not going to do anything really stupid or press the issue.
Yes, but he learned a valuable lesson in Santa Maria racing with Danny, and obviously that's still sticking in his head.
Went from 1st to 18th in 18th place that night for the point championship. That really hurt him.
Here's a look at the top 5 as we get set to push him off again.
Nice run for Tyler Walker.
Yep.
Barry Jackson, former crew chief for Kenny Jacobs, running the All-Stars. Him and Ricky Warner have been friends for years. Now they're together on this car.
Dave Reef?
I'm down with Carl Kinser. What kind of changes do you make to your son's race car?
Well, we put a little more weight in the car and just checking tire wear and fuel, so it's still anybody's ball game. 18 laps left, so, and this Nebraska air is blowing, so it's a tough track tonight.
But is there really anything that can be done to these cars to make them that much better when we're talking about a one-group racetrack?
Well, you know, it's late on the race, you might have a shot, so we're going to wait till about the last 6, 7 laps and then go for a broke, either go to the outside and go to the rear or to the front. So it'll be exciting.
How many times did we see that happen with that man, regardless of the driver, be it Mark or Steve? And he's always said that, I let the racetrack come to me. The Nebraska air blowing around is also known as wind.
Well, Carl is very good at reading and guessing what the racetrack's going to do the last 10 laps.
There's Mark, the working 5M.
You heard Guy Forbrook talking about basically they stuck a 40 on, and it sounded like he kind of wished he would have gone with the 62. When he said, you know, they were kind of watching everybody else, and next thing you know, some guys put 62s, and now I bet he's glad they had the 40 on. You know, we didn't really focus on what the tire wear looked like on that red, but you know, again, they can't change them, so they got to go with what they got.
Let's again go back to what Steve Kinser said, I'm not going to try. He also knows that Sammy Swindell is at the back of this pack.
Yep. Very good point.
Yep.
Very good point.
Sure enough, he knows if he just finishes second, he's going to gain a bunch of points.
It's going to be a tough swing over these next few races as they crisscross the country. No staying in any one place too long. 1 or 2 nights and you're on to the next one.
The big winner will be the gas stations fueling those motorhomes and big rigs.
Of course, TNN will have the season finale for you from Las Vegas coming up in November. Make sure you tune in and catch that, as we will crown the 1998 Pennzoil World of Outlaw champion as you look at the entire field of cars. They got to go on to Bloomington, Indiana from here, then back to Williams Grove, Hales Corners, Wisconsin, Peevely, Missouri, at Kenny Schrader's track at I-55, Highland, Texas, a Battleground, Devil's Bowl, and Mesquite, over to Southern New Mexico Speedway in Las Cruces, New Mexico, Manzanita for the Western World, back to Paris, California, and then finish it all up with the Channel Lock Classic right here on TNN in Las Vegas at that beautiful facility there.
You know, with Sammy changing that gear, it's probably only going to be a few hundred RPMs on the engine, but it's where the engine comes alive and things. It's going to help him somewhat, but it's not going to make a tremendous difference or, you know, blast him up through the field or anything like that. He's still going to have a lot of lucky breaks with traffic.
Hopefully we have seen our last yellow as again we restart the A feature with 18 laps to go.
Oh, and somebody hit the cone.
Andy Hillenberg.
Andy Hillenberg ran over the cone as the yellow comes back out.
Don Stroud stopped on the back straightaway. Now what does hitting the cone do?
Andy Hill have to go to the tail.
That's what I thought.
You hit that cone or pass before the cone, you go to the tail. Now, unless they deem it, he was forced into it, which from where we saw it didn't look like it.
For those of you at home, this will not be a long yellow. Working Woody's already out there to give Andy Hillenberg a little bump start. He'll get back in line at the rear behind Sammy Swindell.
If the whole field had the attitude of Haud and Steve, we could run this thing nonstop. They're just, you know, everybody wanting to take it easy and just try to finish this one out.
Don Stroud, I correct myself, in front of the Working Woody back there. The Burger King car.
There's Art.
Ate the cone.
So Hillenberg hit this cone pretty.
Let's see if we can see if he was squeezed. Okay, there's the cone. Again, you can't pass it or hit. No, he just right there. No, that's not. Okay, here he comes. Oh, it looks like he shot out from behind a car there.
Didn't realize where he
was. Didn't realize where he was.
That Delansky just in front of him, I guess.
Yep. With the wings on, you know, it does block your view somewhat. And, yeah, he just misjudged where the cone was at, I think.
Well, Guy Forbrook trying to work his magic. What's he say, Bobby?
Well, I want to get back to what you guys were talking about earlier. Now, in hindsight, that you've had a chance to see the racetrack, Guy, do you wish that you had the 62 on, or are you happy with the 40?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the 40's going to finish, but the 62 might be a little better than him, but you still can't get off the bottom of the racetrack, and if you get off the bottom, you're going to get passed. So right now, all you can do is ride.
Just be content to run second, hopefully, says Guy Forbrook.
Well, that's where they sit right now.
You have nights like that. You just take what you can get, hopefully load her back in the box, as they say, back in the trailer, and try again tomorrow night.
Well, second place here with Sammy as far back as he is as good as a win for Steve.
Yeah. Now, Steve, if it would end up like this, Steve would be wishing it was full points tonight instead of half points. And again, for those that didn't catch it at the beginning, the reason it's half points tonight is a preliminary.
There's Andy Hillenburg moving up.
Preliminary nights, they only pay half points.
But as I pointed out earlier, Steve has won more preliminary features than all the rest of them combined. So that has been a big part of his success.
Here we go again. Still 18 to go. Oh! Looked like Shots got her all the way sideways there for a second. Danny Lasowski, the onboard camera, the Beat Packers car, chasing him from third. Haudenschild leads Kinser.
Comes Stevie Smith from the back.
Up top he goes.
Hillenburg behind him.
Yep. On the bottom is Gaerte, and then Herrera. And now they come back down in front of that. Stevie Smith coming right down behind him.
Yeah, 3 and 4. You can see a car there. It's Donnie Shots. 3 and 4. There's absolutely nothing but loose dirt up there. You get that loose dirt, and it's like hitting ice. Right there, you see the brown on the left of your screen? That's just powdery dust. You hit that, and man, you just slide across the racetrack.
This race is at the halfway point, and for those of you who might be watching your first Pennzoil Outlaw show here on TNN, this is not the norm. You'll get a couple of yellows every once in a while, but often these 30-lap races will run green to checker.
Brad, in that groove, down the straightaway, in the corners, it's a couple lanes wide, but not much. You can't deviate much off of that black.
No, and it's actually the way the sprint car slides, even as they try to run straight right there, you can see the car a little bit sideways. That takes up that whole groove. So a guy can't really roll on the outside of your get around his Haudenschild is. Johnny Shots rolling down the front straightaway real slow.
And he might come to a stop, which might, unfortunately, he does give us another yellow.
Yep.
It does.
Son of a gun. If he could have just rolled in, these guys were hoping that he could make it back to the pits.
The 24 hours of Omaha.
Haudenschild at this point is just like, you know, especially with the lead he's getting, if they have the radio in, I'm sure they're telling him where he's at and stuff, but things can break, and there's still 13 laps to go. He just wants to get this thing over with. As is Steve Kinser, you heard him say it, so he's just in a position right now. Just don't blow any tires out or burn her tires off. Let's just get it over with.
Let's check our official standings. Where's Sammy?
13th.
Ooh.
Making up some ground. These yellows are helping him. Stevie Smith right with him at 14th.
This should be a very quick restart. The pace truck is already out on this big half mile.
There's Johnny Herrera and Gil Saunders' car in front of him. Johnny's in 12th. There's Shots. They're going to work on the right rear, as is everybody.
There's that nut that holds the wheel on.
Well, while Mr. Shots changes the tire for his son, we'll take a quick break, take care of some more business, and come back. Remaining 13 laps from Nebraska.
TNN, America's Country Home, is a service of CBS Cable. It's the race you've waited for all season, and now it's on TNN. Don't miss racing history. Daytona goes under the lights in the Pepsi 400, October 17th at 8 Eastern, only on TNN Motorsports.
I start every morning with ginseng.
I've taken garlic for years.
I remember my ginkgo biloba every day.
Only Ginkgo combines ginseng, garlic, and ginkgo. Ginkgo, the only supplement with all 3 in 1.
When I have arthritis pain, I want relief fast. I can't wait. When I rub in Aspercreme, it brings fast relief for minor arthritis pain. The relief lasts for hours, and it's odor-free.
Aspercreme, pain relief without aspirin.
I love this city.
I love country.
TNN puts them together.
Bright Lights, Big Cities Week.
With Jeff Foxworthy,
It cracks me up.
the Oak Ridge Boys,
Perfect harmony.
Reba McEntire,
You go, girl.
a party full of stars.
I'm big.
Bull Nanzo.
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
TNN's Motor Madness.
What a riot.
And your host,
Me.
And me.
TNN's Bright Lights Big Cities Week. Starts October 5th.
On TNN.
Well, we've got 13 laps to go here in the Cornhusker Outlaws Showdown. I-80 Speedway, the TNN Motorsports cameras here for the first time. Next year, we've got a couple of other new tracks on the schedule for you. Topeka, Kansas, the beautiful Heartland Park, and also Joliet.
Here we go. The restart right now.
Boy, Haudenschild has been getting some tremendous restarts, getting away enough to give himself some cushion getting in that first turn.
Hod is like a rocket.
Stevie Smith or Ingersoll ran right up across the top of the racetrack, about banging that wall out of turn 2.
Sammy's right behind Joe Gaerte, who's right behind the 47 Herrera.
This is where it gets a little frustrating as a driver. You're down there, you know, now Sammy goes to the top going into turn 1.
Look at Hillenberg in the middle.
They're all trying that a little bit down there out of turn 1 and 2, but boy, they're not getting up there in 3 and 4 at all.
That hurt Stevie Smith going up there, didn't it?
Well, two of the most frustrated race car drivers out there have to be Sammy Swindell and Eddie Hillenberg.
Sammy made a nice move there. He passed on the outside, going into 1 and dove back to the bottom right across the front of Joe Gaerte, just what he needed to do to get back on the bottom.
The red 16L just in front of white car of Herrera is Leonard Lee. That is 10th position. Look at this, 3 wide with Sammy way up top.
Boy, when you come off that corner, see that? He's squeezing, he's trying to, there he did it.
Got Herrera, didn't he?
And you see what it did to Herrera. Look,
Herrera just spinning in snow.
Yeah, he just had to park it when he got up into that gravel, that gravelly loose dirt.
Daniel Lisowski looking back at Tyler Walker. That is 3rd, looking back at 4th. Haudenschild still leads it. Steve Kinser's the green car. He runs in 2nd in the Quaker State machine. Lisowski's 3rd, Walker's 4th. Mark Kinser, Smith, Dale Blaney having a good run in 6th, and Craig Delansky doing a nice job at his new car. He's got the Polydome entry up to 7th.
With 8 laps to go, you can see some lap cars in front of Haudenschild. Luckily, there's just one, and then it's quite a ways in front of the other cars. He might have to contend with some lap cars before this thing's over.
Sammy's up to 8th. Delansky sits in 7th if he can catch it.
Now again, here's Haudenschild. When he gets this lap car, if he can't get by him on the straightaway, he's got a tough decision to make.
That could make things interesting with
there he goes.
About 6 laps to go.
That gear change was productive, wasn't it?
Sammy battling Delansky. That is for 7th. Delansky,
that is
red car.
To come back to 7th on a racetrack like this.
Great bit of driving by a great driver.
You bet.
Absolutely one of the best to ever slide into the seat of a sprint car, slamming Sammy Swindell, showing why he is considered one of the greatest sprint car drivers of all time.
Well, probably the best driver mechanic
absolutely
of all time. Most of these guys really depend on a good crew chief.
Look at that move. Wow, was that ever spectacular? That had veteran skills written all over it, didn't it?
Yep, same thing. You know, if you get a run on a guy, you just got to go down across. Oh, look at this.
Shots just in front of Haudenschild. Now, where's Kinser in the Quaker State car? Can he catch him? What do you think, Bobby Gerald?
Oh, look how bad the Shots is holding Haudenschild out.
Donnie Schatz had changed back to a 25C tire on that last pit stop. And it doesn't seem to really made much difference, to be honest with you.
Kinser spinning the wheels. He can't catch the wild child. Haudenschild gets around Schatz.
Well, I hope they got him on the radio as well. Coming off the 4th with a white flag. I sure hope they're telling him on the radio.
Delansky stops in turn 2. Let's see if the yellow comes out. It does. We're going to have a 1-lap dash.
Well, green, white, and checkered. 2 laps to go. But this happened to Haudenschild last week at the Gold Cup. Coming off with a white flag. The yellow comes out. As a driver, you think, oh, man, because anything can happen. You have a flat tire, you can break, you could miss the bottom, as did Steve Kinser that last. Steve closed in on Jack a little bit, got into 1, and Steve missed the bottom, slid up. Haud was able to get back away, so.
Too bad for the Polydome car of Craig Delansky. He had a really nice run going. He was up to 8th.
That's that brand new car you were talking about earlier.
Absolutely. Look at the flat right rear.
Yep.
That's why.
Probably a little soft and burnt through it. Actually burnt right through the tire and
Rod
blew it out.
Favor and crew chief on that car, they did a real nice job with it here. There's Danny Lasowski. He's having a great run. He's still sitting in third.
Right there, there's a little discrepancy on where Schatz is going to go. Of course, Steve's going to get up there and tell him to get behind him, but it's all up to the lineup. Now, Haudenschild, you know, he obviously wants Schatz to be between he and Steve Kinser.
It's Haudenschild, Steve Kinser, Danny Lasowski, Tyler Walker, Mark Kinser, your top 5. Dale Blaney having a nice run in the Amico car with Kenny Woodruff crew in that one. Sammy Swindell. Paul McMahon's got the Mopar inside the top 10. Leonard Lee, Lance Blevins, and the rest. There's Danny Lasowski.
They did put Donnie Schatz between Jack and Steve, and guarantee you Steve's not going to force the issue to try to get around Donnie Schatz.
Crew work on Craig Delansky's car.
Good shot of seeing how floppy these tires are, how lightweight, how thin sidewall they are. Look at that, just a rag.
Without the wheel, they won't even stand up by themselves.
He does have a hole in the sidewall right there, so he might have tagged the wall instead of burning through it. He might have tagged the wall or hit somebody. Well, no, that looks like the tread came off at that angle, so maybe he did burn through and peeled the tread off.
Sammy Swindell is not done yet. You know that, guys, when we go back to green?
No, he could probably get 2 or 3 more. Maybe to come out of this with a top 5, Brett.
Boy, wouldn't that be something to come from the tail.
And remember, Steve has no idea where he is. Unless he's getting signals from the side. Here we go. Green, white, checker. Donnie Schatz in between Haudenschild and Kinser. On board with Lasowski. Schatz slides wide. That'll open the door for Kinser and Lasowski. They all freight train past Schatz. White flag waits for Jac Haudenschild. That was Walker in the back getting into Mark Kinser as they had contact. And Sammy is around Mark Kinser. Unbelievable. Sammy is now up to 5th. What a run by Slammin' Sammy. He's going to race Mark Kinser back. Checkered flag goes to the Wild Child. He survives to win it. Steve Kinser is 2nd. Danny's 3rd. Tyler Walker is 4th. And what an absolutely tremendous drive by the channel lock number 1 of Sammy Swindell.
Boy, for the way the racetrack was, you are absolutely right. He just fought and scrapped his way back through. That's all he did.
That was absolutely a textbook drive by one of the best sprint car drivers of all time, Sammy Swindell, showing you how to get the job done and earn those points. That takes a situation that he saw the championship sliding away, and he saved it.
Absolutely, and he took some desperation moves through traffic that he might not otherwise, but he had that championship in the back of his mind.
Boy, big tip of the visor to Sammy Swindell and to Jac Haudenschild, who survives I-80 Speedway to get the win. We talked about how the Wild Child could be the spoiler here in the back end of the season by taking away the big points with the wins, and he did it here tonight. Now watch this. Here's Sammy to the inside of Mark. Comes up to the outside. Looked like Mark tried to squeeze him out there, huh, Brad?
Well, I think Sammy just snuck by before Mark even knew he was there. Sammy just had a nice run off of 4.
Remember, he changed that tire, too, to look like that helped him a lot, didn't it? So Sammy Swindell brings the channel lock number 1 home in 5th. Look at that bald tire on Jac Haudenschild. We'll be back to talk to the Wild Child here from I-80 right after this. Don't go away.
Parts for sprint cars and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar. super truck and your vehicle. Get real. Get Mopar.
It knows 2 speeds. Stop and go. It just beat a series of the toughest stop-and-go driving tests in the world, and it's brand new. Go ahead. Guess. You have 4.3 seconds. Introducing Pennzoil with new Pure Base. Stop. Go. Pennzoil.
That looks tasty.
It's a Big King. I got this one for free.
Gonna eat them both?
Not if you let me play baseball.
Baseball? Son, I coach. What position?
Shortstop. No, second base. And I want a bat, too.
Welcome aboard, slugger.
The flame-broiled Big King. It's like a Big Mac, but tastes better with 75% more beef. Buy one now, say it just tastes better, and get a second one free.
How'd you boys like to play ice hockey?
If you ask us, it just tastes better.
We're back to I-80 Speedway, where we brought the TNN cameras for the first time for some live Pennzoil World of Outlaw racing. Turned out to be a really good show. Jac Haudenschild, Steve Kinser, and Danny Lasowski take the top 3 podium slots. Tyler Walker holds on for a nice run in 4th, but Sammy Swindell gave his fans something to cheer about, and he is hanging in there in the fight for another championship. Mark Kinser, Blaney, did a nice job in the Amoco car. Paul McMahon, a good run, as did Leonard Lee and Joe Gaerte. Well, let's go meet our winner, the Wild Childs, with Bobby Jarrett.
Let's get a big thumbs up from Raquel Haudenschild first. That is great. Down here also with Sheldon and Patty, and the winner, Jack. And Jack, a win's a win. You're second in a row coming off the Gold Cup, but how much did that test your patience? That one took a while.
Yeah, it sure did. You know, them a lot of restarts there, and then them ones on the white flag lap are always, you know, they're kind of bad to have them on the white flag lap. But the crew's got the car working real good, and it's, you know, it's just been locked down really good. And I just want to thank Jack, Eldon, and Carol home watching right now. And hopefully tomorrow we can do the same thing. And I want to say happy birthday to my son, Justin.
You just did. Were you breathing a little easier knowing that Steve Kinser leads the points and he was kind of taking it easy?
Yeah, these tracks are hard to, you know, pass on, really. I mean, it's kind of a one-lane track, and, you know, hopefully tomorrow it'll get out a little bit wider, and, you know, when them guys are behind you, you can't breathe too easy.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Dave Reef?
Well, Steve Kinser on a night like tonight, second place has got to be okay.
Well, I guess it is. Yeah, we got the first half of this race on. You know, we'd like to win the thing, but pretty well gave the race away in the dash there. The start laid some rubber on the bottom, and Jack found it before I did. I was running up the top, and sometimes it's, you know, it's better to be in second and find it. And of course, we knew it was there on the start, and so we just fell into second and just sort of rode it out. That's all we done.
You know that top 3 finish is going to gain a few points on Sammy Swindell, who charged to 5th, as you found out when you got the car stopped. Were you pressing it all, trying to get up there and win this thing?
No, I really never pressed it any at all. I just sat back here, and it was everybody was on the verge of having enough rubber to make the end of the race. So I didn't want to. The last thing I want to do is go up there and burn the tire off and have a flat right toward the end of the race, or run out of fuel or something like that. So we just took our second place and try her again tomorrow night.
It's just good, smart driving. That's why this guy's a 14-time World of Outlaw champ, Bobby Joe.
And Sammy Swindell wants to be a 4-time Pennzoil World of Outlaws champion, and that was an awesome run there, Sammy. You get all the way back up to 5th. You only lose 3 points to Steve Kinser tonight, and I would think, given all the troubles early, you got to be pretty proud of yourself.
Yeah, well, the guys did a great job, you know, getting the thing back together, and it's just unfortunate we had the problem. You know, the car was great. I mean, I was just kind of biding my time there a little bit. You can see on the lap that we had lap board. We had quite a few laps, and 35 was really protecting the bottom, but he was so slow he could get off a little better than I could. It was making it tough. But the track did open up a little bit, and it gave me some room to get around the outside of some guys, you know, getting in the corner, and we could outbrake them. And you know, I think we had one of the best cars. You know, it goes back to that track position again. You know, if we could have started up front, we could have stayed up front. You know.
An excellent job by Sammy Swindell. I'm sorry, Sam, we are out of time. Ralph?
Absolutely, Bobby. I tell you, our Mopar Chrysler Corporation parts and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge and Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them bring us our Mopar High Performer of the event. Who else could it be but Sammy Swindell? Absolutely tremendous performance. Well, for my good buddies Brad Doty and Steve Evans and the guys down in the pits who did a tremendous job, Dave Reef and Bobby Gerald, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from I-80. Don't forget, November 6th from 8 to 11, the season finale on TNN.